sisters.
Yo, what's up? Welcome to Diabolical Souls Presents Arcane Review Episode 3. Welcome, everybody. I hope you're ready for this one. This one's going to be a good one. But I do have some friends with me tonight, so I'm going to bring them on right away. So let's bring them on. My co-hosts, amateur analyst. How's it going, buddy?
Hello, everyone.
The energy is...
I'm very tired today. This is the best wave I got, so I'm here.
Excellent.
I am excited. This is my favorite episode, but
yeah, this one's a dinger. So let's let's bring on the other man himself, Enzo. What's going on there, brother?
A dinger. Yeah,
a dinger.
I'd agree. Yeah. I'm doing good. What is it? Yeah, just got ran a bunch of errands, ate some Whataburger. Just popped in on Lance's video game stream for a second, and now I'm here.
Nice.
What's Lance playing?
Some weird Civil War game.
Yeah, he plays a civil. I was on there too. He plays he does this attack thing, whatever. But
tabletop.
Let's bring out the other man that's part of the show here. Let's bring out actually Andrew. How's it going there, brother?
Yo.
How are you?
Good. Yeah, it's going good.
You ready for this one?
No.
No. Why is that?
I'm not ready either.
It's episode 3.
It's because it's going to be a lot to take in.
It's a blessed number.
Yeah, it's the one.
It is the one. It's a hell of a episode.
Is this everyone's favorite episode?
And to join us for the first time, I think it's the first time in the show too on my channel. Let's bring him out, Hostmann, or Heimerdinger as we call him.
Hello, child. No one is ever ready for 3, but it just happens.
Excellent. What's going on, Hostmann? How are you, sir?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good. Well, I'm excited to get this episode going, but just a quick hi to everyone in the chat. Of course, we got Hostmann. He was here. It's crude, isn't it? And the base violence necessary for change is the episode that we're doing tonight, episode 3. CLS says he couldn't be here tonight. I won't be there for the show. Have a good one. Good night.
Cheers.
Jay. Jamalama, thanks for joining us, brother. Always good to see you. Also, Watami.
Jama.
Also, Watami. What are you philosophing about Hostmann? Thanks for joining us. We also got Enzo in there. Kilted Cajun, Silco, always Silco. Yes. Thanks for joining us there, Kilted Cajun. We got a lot. Racerhead, thanks for jumping in there, brother. Good to see you. And let's see, let me scroll down. And then, nice. The T Pro 83. I think episode 3 is the best show, the best in the show. Yes, it is. Thanks for joining us. I think this is the first time I've seen you on here, so thanks for coming on. Yeah, this is a really roller coaster of an episode. There's a lot of trauma, a lot of an emotional episode. We see a lot in this one, and so without any further ado, does anyone want to say anything before we get started?
Yeah, I think it's more like a plane crash than a roller coaster.
Yeah,
I would say roller coaster, but yeah, it could be a plane crash. You could say.
Well, it never goes up. It's always,
yeah, it never.
It's like
it goes up.
How
for
far
Jayce.
can we drown you? And then when you're like, please, may I have some air? It says no. 10 meters down more. You're welcome.
It's like the death of Ned Stark. You know exactly how it happened and why it's happening, but you're just at the same time, you're like, no, stop.
Yeah, it's awful.
To come out
it's
of the
terrible,
and stop
but it's
everything
how
that's happening.
Like, yeah, it's terrible, but it's like brilliant. It's the good terrible.
It is. Well, let's get this party started. Oh, I just heard a little beep, and that would be the man himself, Little Platoon. How are you, sir?
I'm good. Sorry I'm late. Everything's going
No
well.
worries. We
You're
just
right
started.
on time.
Platoon?
Yeah. You looking forward to this one? What did you think when you watched this there, Little Platoon?
I literally finished about 2. In fact, the credits are rolling on the TV as I speak. It's a strong episode.
Yes,
the first time you've seen it?
No, second time.
Oh, okay. Right on. 669.
Yeah, I think all of us watched the episode today. It did, I think. Did we
Yeah.
not?
Yep.
Yeah.
I did not.
Get out.
Shame.
wow.
But I did not do my homework, so
Yeah, you're one of those guys that just fakes it on the quiz. Just goes with what he knows.
Fake it till you make it.
Well, like I said, this is episode 3. This one is called oh my
The
base violence necessary?
Yes,
for
thank you,
base
guys.
violence necessary.
Uh,
It is crude, isn't it? The base violence.
Since everyone else said it, I'm also going to say it's
Yeah.
the base violence necessary for change. Now everyone has
but
said it.
It's gonna, let's keep saying it until it loses meaning, you know?
The base violence necessary for change, yes.
Yes, everyone jumps off the bridge. Yeah, I got to jump off the bridge too. Okay, so we start off this episode. We have Silco in the water, and he is dropping to the bottom, and he's got his monologue here talking about basically his brotherhood with Vander, pretty much, and grasping for air, being underwater, with everything that's been happening. Anyone want to talk about the dialogue in the beginning here?
Yeah. Like
Yes.
the first time I watched it, like at least the first few seconds, it was almost an eye roller. I'm like, oh, they're gonna try to do this like monologue thing, and it's like it could have been so bad, but it's not. It's really good. Like it's very poetic. It's very like visceral, and it's relatable. Like if you've ever almost drowned, it's it's kind of true. That like burning feeling you get in your limbs.
Have you almost drowned before?
More than once, yeah.
Cool.
I grew up on the water, man.
I almost did it when I was a kid. But I was
Your
like,
Yeah.
mother did.
I almost drowned because I was stupid, not because of like anything like super like drastic happening. I was just stupid and walked too far, and then I was like, oh god.
Same.
But yeah,
this
this opening was going to be the first scene of the show entirety. But
wow.
they changed it because it just this scene does not fit as an opener for a show.
No.
But it fits as an opener to the introduction to a villain. In terms of how the villain works. Because this was one of the reasons why the show was scrapped in the first place, was because the opener was just not, it wasn't grabbing. It was just some guy that we don't know yet. And then they changed it to the opening on the bridge with the sisters, and that's much better of an opening just because it introduces you to the two main characters of the show. So they moved it back to episode 3, and it makes it a great opener for episode 3, since this is the episode where we really get to know who Silco is. And we see his relationship with Vander kind of unravel, or not unravel, but we get to just see it raw.
That's where the subversion begins.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of like, is Vander really this great guy that we've been led
And there's
to
also
believe?
yeah,
Is there like a dark history there?
And there's also there's just foreshadowing in the beginning of what Silco will do in the dialogue and what he's doing drowning.
No problem there,
funny.
Kilted Cajun. Yeah, but there's the other part that I want to touch on is about him embracing the monster, like releasing the monster and then embracing it, and his monologue as well, which is quite a take. And then we'll get into obviously Vi here, waiting as we left off with the cliffhanger in episode 2. And then we get into the beginning of episode 3 with her, holding her hands, and then awaiting the guards to come grab her and then take her in. Any thoughts on this, you guys? Go ahead, chime in whenever you want, you guys.
It's always kind of surreal when you see essentially a child having to make a decision that really should only fall on the shoulders of a grown-up. But that was something that always struck me watching the scene, that she's what, 15 at this, 13 maybe, and
I think she's like 15, 16 maybe.
Yeah 15, 16, and she's basically a child soldier. She's basically grown up in an environment that's had her grow up very fast. And I always thought that was really interesting to see that Vander is trying to essentially protect what little vestige of innocence she has left by taking the rap for her. But, well, that doesn't turn out too well for him.
No, there's a couple of like interesting bits about that. The first thing is their relationship, his relationship with Vi, and the lesson he's trying to impart to her, which is that you should always, in effect, put yourself second if that is necessary to protect the family. That you have to do whatever you need to do, but protecting the family is your highest ambition and goal in life. Which is effectively setting her up for the fall that happens at the end of the episode when she is put in that situation. She's already largely failed, but then she has that one particular moment with Powder when I don't think it's coincidental either that you've sort of got Vander's weird corrupted body behind her as she does it. She fails the mission that he's set for her in that moment. And then the other one, as you say, is this going away and turning yourself into the police, which is another set. Everything in the show is a setup for something. It's brilliant. Setting up kind of this point about chaos, which I know we touched on in episode 2, which is that he's making a trade here with the other so-called conservative member of society. They're just trying to keep the balance as it currently is, and you can't actually stop this chaos element that's coming to destroy everything.
Mm-hmm.
They're not radicals. They just want peace.
Yeah, and I think it was a point you made in the last episode, Platoon, where you said the like sort of that chaos that's sort of bubbling up. It's almost like a force of nature, like it's inevitable. So no matter what, regardless of whether the goals of any particular character are successful or unsuccessful, like it's just something that happens, and some characters realize this and some don't. Like Silco obviously, weaponizes it. Vander knows it's inevitable. That's why he can't act. He's sort of like frozen in position. So it's like, well, violence isn't going to do anything. Standing around, like pretending it's not happening, isn't going to do anything. So I guess Vi kind of beats him to the punch, where it's like, okay, maybe if I, sacrifice myself to protect, that ideal, maybe it'll hold the chaos at bay a little bit, I guess. Which is exactly what we get here.
Yeah.
It's also doing the thing that she's never really done before, which is surrendering. She's always idolized or idealized Vander for like him fighting, but now she's doing the thing that she's never thought was possible, which is surrendering, and it's confusing to her because she's always thought like fight your way through difficult situations. And it's gotten to the point where she can no longer do that. And now it's like, okay, this is the thing that I have to do in order to grow up, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Punch your way through this.
No, and the piece here too is like the self-reflection, like you guys are saying. It's a difficult pill to swallow for her as she's starting to actually understand his advice, and actually paying the price for it as she sees Vander going with the patrol here. But as we keep going here, she's been pushed down into the basement, locked as at Benzo's here, and then what's that? Nice.
Justice for Enzo.
Yeah.
I was sad when Enzo got killed.
I'm sure you were.
His name rhymes with mine. No.
This part right here.
He just looks like an older version of you.
Thank you.
Dude, on the precinct, there's the one maybe, and this is like how far you have to reach to really find problems with this show, but she spends all her time hammering on the door, and there is a window right there behind her, which she doesn't ever go for. I think that's just about the only problem I found in the episode. There probably are more, but it's that level of minutiae.
Yeah, I was thinking about how like different it is from standard crime capers, where like me and Jay just recently talked about at close range, where like the dude Chris Walken's the dad, he like kills his own kids and his kids' friends just to avoid getting caught. The idea of like confessing to a crime you didn't do, to take the rap, that's usually not the case. It happens with these like criminal families and stuff.
I just want to say a quick hello to Hypnotic and Racerhead and Daxonar.
Yo.
Zero, thanks for joining us there, guys. I appreciate it. Yeah, there's just like, again, these kids are experiencing so much trauma daily. It's, and we were talking about this in the back room.
Well, that's why it sucks
Come
because
back a little
Vander
bit.
does the noble thing, and it's
He gets
yeah,
absolutely
yeah.
screwed over for it.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's bad.
Yeah, I really love the all of the sort of subtle symbolism in the scene. Like, you don't see the blood on the outside at first; you just see a splash of red from Vi's point of view, and then it cuts here, and then it shows the face of the officer woman, but then they never show what Benzo looked like. They just kind of say he tore him apart,
Yeah,
and
leave it to the
And then-
imagination.
when
Yeah.
what's his face sleazebag cop takes the coins, there's one that falls on the ground and it gets covered in blood. That's what you get.
Mhm.
You Judas. You
30
you get
pieces of
your-
silver.
Well,
He
it's like
keeps that coin too. I think
it's
in
like what he
episode
said-
4 or 5. You see him like.
It's what he said when he was in the bar with Vander. He said something along the lines of every coin that comes past here has a crime behind it.
Yes.
And he's pretty much fulfilled what he said himself. So,
It's a
and it's
self-fulfilling
obviously,
prophecy.
yep, and it's obviously something that is in his head constantly because he still has the coin post 7-year skip.
Yep.
Yeah.
So in this scene here, we're seeing Vander, Benzo, and they're Deckard, who's all mutated up, and they're being introduced to that character. And Benzo gets killed. Vander is like a sitting duck. The soldier's like talking. I forget the soldier's name. What's his name there?
Marcus.
Your favorite, Andrew. Marcus. Thank you.
I like how you know Decker's name.
yeah, Marcus. Well, I don't care
Well-
for Marcus. He's an okay.
I hate
character.
Marcus.
I know that's that's why I was saying he's your favorite character. But
Yeah.
yeah,
I didn't even remember it.
Vander realizes what Marcus is. He's a traitor, and he's a sellout. Silco introduces himself, and Vander is getting upset.
Stubborn to the last.
Yeah. And then we see Deckard just pop up and just knock out Vander, which is a crazy animation shot. Like this right here is
They love the
amazing.
spit, man.
Yeah.
I thought he was dead.
Yeah.
Like when they punched him, I was like, is he dead or not? What's going on?
I thought he got off kind of easy because, like, the other dudes, the lady cop and Benzo, they just kind of got killed on impact, kind of thing.
Well, I was going to be really mad if he was dead because I was like, really? This is it?
Right.
Yeah, it needs to be more dramatic.
And apparently he's coming back for season 2 from that teaser.
What?
Oh god.
Yeah.
Well, I
I
think
can't see that working, but
It's not going to be Vander.
yeah, he's like a different character. I've heard people theorize he's some other League of Legends.
That's one of the only two ways you could do it.
Warwick.
I think if you bring him back as a different character, like very much corrupted, in which case the fact he's back is tragic, or you do it in flashbacks. But if they bring him back as him, no, stop
No,
it.
no,
That's
no.
already a big red flag. They might pull it off, but I really hope they don't even try.
Nah, he
There's
should be.
I'm
should be a
always
monster man.
hesitant whenever you step off the monomyth line. You got to be careful, man. Like Tolkien bringing back Gandalf, you got to have like 20 reasons for it to work, or it's gonna
Mhm.
take more away from it than it adds.
So he's called the Hound of the Underground in the show, and there's another character in League of Legends who's he's a pretty much a werewolf.
Warwick.
Yes.
Warwick, yes. So
Werewolves.
Vander is Warwick, pretty much. And
Yeah,
it's
this-
been
Warwick.
confirmed
Honestly,
from-
this is
yeah,
kind of
no,
why it's my favorite episode because of the body horror. I love werewolves and like that. This all this. It's like Resident Evil. Like some kind of Resident Evil boss. I love this.
Yeah.
season 2
Dr.
is going to
Jekyll's
be.
house.
This is more terrifying than
Oh, sorry.
this is more unnerving and terrifying than like 80% of horror movies I ever watch.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
because you
you
care about
the
these characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Jinx.
So, like, are you guys saying that
Whoa.
the doctor that I don't want to give spoilers for I guess we're reviewing, but
Singe?
the doctor that brought back Jinx and all that stuff, he's possibly bringing back Vander as Warwick.
Mhm. As
That's
this just
the-
That wouldn't
mutated
surprise me.
monster.
Okay.
Which makes sense
The
because
gene
Warwick in the
must
game
continue.
very much has like shimmer powers. So I don't even think it's called that in the game. I'm not sure. I've only ever played like 2 of the champions, but
But he's like a literal werewolf, like he's a wolf man.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Let me
Cool.
let me get you a picture of him
all
Oh,
right.
and
you
just
read my
send it
mind.
to you.
I love
War-
lycanthropes.
Scary.
Well,
ass
I could
fucking
bring it up
champion
myself,
In the
I
game
think.
comes out of nowhere.
Yeah. And I mean, I think in the teaser, from what I remember, he's like standing right next to Vi, and it's like they're very friendly, you know, like the trope of the monster and the girl, and the monster protects the girl because he likes her for X and Y reason. So I think
Yeah.
I think it is going to be Vander, but the doctor brought him back. But he's not going to be like the same. He's going to be Warwick. He's not Vander anymore.
Frankenwolf.
Yeah, I could see
Dude,
that playing
Vi's
off.
gonna have so many emotions in season 2.
Yeah,
it's
Oh my
gonna be.
gosh.
That's what I was about to say. Like, if they play it off as like some sort of traumatic thing and get an emotional response out of Vi, like that could be one way it works. But I don't know. Resurrecting dead archetypes, it's just
Yeah.
man, it takes so much meaning away from what has happened thus far. If you know what I mean.
I just want to talk about the animation here because the light sources and the rendering here is just top notch. Like, my God, this is like an amazing shot. Like, so detailed and like, man, this is CG, right? This is just like, but it's
I
just
think so.
yeah.
It
It's
looks
pretty
like
much,
it looks like a
I'm not certain.
Rembrandt painting mixed with. Trying to think of like a contemporary grimdark artist. It just looks great. It looks like something I'd hang up on my wall.
what's up, Vex?
Yeah.
Hey Vex.
Thursday.
Has Vex watched the
Thursday.
show yet?
Thursday. I get it.
No, I told her to get
He
watching
hasn't.
it because
All right,
so she can
Vex,
come on.
leave the stream. Go watch
Yes.
the show. No
Yes, so you
spoilers,
can hop on.
especially
Watch
for
it.
this video. This episode, no, leave. You gotta leave. Get
Everyone
outta here.
dies,
Yeah,
Vex.
It's been 2 years. You gotta watch it.
Stupid.
All the characters you liked the last 2 episodes will be dead by the end of this one.
Everyone dies.
Death comes for us
So
all.
yeah, we move forward and then we get to Jayce and the assistant here.
The assistant.
Victor?
Hold on.
The assistant.
The assistant, yes, the assistant.
That's
and
how I
his
thought he
name-
was going to be in the show. I didn't know he was going to become a character. I was
Victor.
like, yeah, my second favorite character.
Kind of reminds me of what was it? Like one of those scientists from the Pacific Rim movie. What was it? Not Charlie Day, the other
Harley Day? I know.
one. The weirder one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because both of
Jesse
them are really
Eisenberg?
fucking annoying, and this guy isn't. So
Oh yeah.
similar
Yeah.
role. There is the clever little tie-in though, because again, everything in this is thematically linked in some ways. You've got kind of parallel revolutions going on. The base violence necessary for change applies just as well to the arcane and to the magic as it does to the actual social revolution that's happening in the underground. So you've actually got these two revolutionary forces taking place at pretty much exactly the same time, which will be tied together later. But it's you can't ever predict what's going to be the outcome of this. So one of them seems to produce this ordered wonderscape, and the other one is fire and doom. And you've got the parallels between the window shots that happen later. It's like everything about it is inextricably linked together. And it's a really beautiful thing to do.
Well, it's one thing I
Mhm.
noticed
think
when I
one
was
of the
making my
only
video
times-
about it. If you timeline both storylines out, like the A plot, B plot, and then you look at the main characters, which is Vi and Jayce, very clearly, once you have everything written out, and you look at the plot points, like all the characters have huge obstacles hit them, more or less at the exact same time, of similar significance, and one always fails and one always succeeds. It's like a duality, you know. It's like a mirror, kind of like the game. You know, you have this team on this side of the arena, this team on this side, and one success is the other's failure, so to speak. It's almost like they're trying to bring that aspect of the game, that sort of like metaphysical structure, into the show, which is kind of neat. It happens all the way throughout the show. Like, you know, at the end of this episode, Jayce gets this huge culminating moment, and Vi gets, you know, she goes to proverbial hell, which is fascinating. I don't think I've seen a show do that before. And if I have it, none is coming to mind.
And Jayce only gets this moment because a corrupt politician sees him as a means of profit and exploitation.
Yes. So yeah, we're seeing Victor and Jayce here. Obviously, they're discussing the options or the plan to move forward. And Victor has already got a plan. Is to break in.
Crank it.
Crank it.
Gotta crank it.
So they're going to break into Heimerdinger's lab, and
Which I will say, I do not approve of lab break-ins of any sort, children.
Dude.
That's bang on.
That was the hardest I laughed today was when we got in the waiting room, and that was like the first thing Amateur said to Hostmann. You kind of sound like Heimerdinger too. I think I laughed for like 36 straight seconds. And now it's just creepy. Now I'm just getting weirded out.
I'm good. I'm really good at doing some impressions, but not so much at others. Like my sisters, anytime they want to laugh, they ask me to do my Cruella de Vil impression because apparently that one is creepily accurate.
Well, don't leave us hanging.
Of Cruella? We talking the original animated one?
The cartoon
Emma Stone.
One.
Okay.
Glenn Close.
No, not that one.
Yeah,
There's something about poetic justice that is just so poetic. Oh, shut the fuck up. You think you're so clever, don't you?
Okay, so we're going off that tangent. Back to this.
Anywho,
we get to Ekko here, and he's in complete shock. He's witnessing everyone die. He can't fully grasp of what actually happens.
This might be a slightly profane statement. I think if there's any character who's underdeveloped in this show, it's probably Ekko. At least he's the one who's left by far the least impression on me, and seems to be kind of ancillary to most of the events. Like he watches, and occasionally he'll impart useful information until he gets obviously the big bridge scene, which makes a huge difference. But like, I always thought that compared to how well the rest of them are all fleshed out, he's a little bit sort of shallow compared to them, I guess.
He does get fleshed out later, but they definitely left him for last.
Yeah.
I think we kind of talked about it.
I think they'll spend more time with him in season 2 because he's supposed to, like, you see the clock imagery with him later in the season, but in the League of Legends game, he's like the boy who stole time or something like that.
Oh,
he has soft time travel abilities.
Yeah, it was kind of brought to my
Super
attention
annoying
on
character.
first episode that he is a big character in the game, which I think is why he's kind of. I don't know. I think we're supposed to know a bunch about him already. I don't, but I agree with you there, Platoon.
He's
not as bad as Marcus.
Well, he's a forgotten character. It's like he after this episode, you don't even see him, and then you see him in episode 7.
Well, you see him in episode 4.
Yeah,
oh, you do?
You don't know it's him,
but he has a mask on.
7.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But he has a stopwatch, and I'm like, oh, okay, so that's Ekko.
Oh, I didn't even put that together the first time I watched it. Not even close. I was like, oh shit, it's the little black kid. What's his name again?
So we're seeing Silco,
racist.
Yeah, I know, right?
We're seeing Silco here with his drug lab making was it shimmer, and Vander's groggy, waking up and witnessing everything. Like he's got this huge kind of shimmer lab, and they're going through this back and forth. Well, I guess Silco's yeah, pretty much, and Silco saying like he's trying to like egg on Vander, and basically saying like I think what were the words, like something about him about the fight.
You won't fight for the cause, but you'll die for one.
Yes, exactly.
He basically says the theme out loud.
Yeah,
at least
he says the title of the episode out loud as well. The bass line and changes what he explains. But again, that sort of goes back to this quite artful depiction of revolutions, which is the really sort of the theme that's universal to every single episode. Like the base violence necessary for change is almost synonymous, like word for word, with forces the midwife of the revolution, for example.
Yeah.
And this idea that you're prepared to die for revolutions but not fight for them, and the fact that you've got these two factions, they are both kind of revolutionary, but one of them is much more happy to make peace with the status quo than the other. And it just mirrors virtually every revolution you care to read about, whether it's like the Chinese or the Russian or the Spanish. Everyone has revolutionary factions, some of whom are just revolutionary to their core, which Silco is, and some of whom are kind of conservative revolutionaries, which Vander in this situation is.
Yeah.
And it just makes it so thematically rich, but also grounded, because it is quite clearly people responsible have actually read their history, and they are putting it on screen in this new way. It's just, yeah, it's an endlessly fascinating show for that reason.
Yeah, and it
Now
makes
this
it
reminds me
so
of
much.
Karl Marx.
Oh, here we go again.
Yeah,
No,
But
wow.
no,
It
yeah, well,
actually does. That's the thing about this show. Like, of all the shows, this one probably does.
yeah, I think, yeah. But in all seriousness, it does remind me of that famous Barry Goldwater quote: "Extremism in the defense of liberty is no vice, and moderation in the pursuit of justice is no virtue." And ironically enough, Marxian theories of revolution were kind of proved correct by revolutions against Marxist regimes.
Did you guys know this? Heimerdinger is a Yordle.
No, I didn't. Believe it or not, I
Oh,
didn't
okay.
know.
The T.
I
Oh,
did
he
not
was
know
asking
that.
I did.
to
I
do
did bring
an
that up,
impression.
but
He said like
Isn't
Vager. And I'm like, who's Vager?
I thought that the Yordle. Oh no, it's a
Wagner's a
Is it a
He's a
Yaddle?
Yodel.
There's a
Yaddle.
Yaddle in Star
No,
Wars.
Yaddle is the
Yoda
a
and
Yaddle
Yaddle
is female
Wars.
Yoda. That
Yordle.
speaks normal English.
Yordle would be a cool band name, and also I'm liking that word the more I think of it. Yordle.
I kept this scene on here intentionally because I love how they didn't even have to really portray this or show it, but like they show the addiction of
Oh yeah, he's
Shimmer,
a total junkie.
and
It's
then
great.
Oh,
yeah, and it's just like wow, like they go to certain lengths to like show aspects of these characterizations and mannerisms in these characters. It's amazing. I really appreciate the animation and the story for when they do this. It is an animation, and you don't really. I mean, it's come a long way since the 60s and 70s, but like, damn, like this is pretty intense when you think of it.
I don't know. Is it just me, or do you get the sense that what he's coughing up isn't shimmer? It's supposed to be his blood tainted by the shimmer.
A mix of both, probably.
It's not good, whatever it is.
Saliva, blood.
It's a really bad
mucus.
come down.
It's obvious
Really
that, like,
bad.
yeah, Silco has probably already, signed away this dude's life. He would have, if he didn't die later in this episode, he probably would have just, like, I don't know, gotten worse. I don't know. I don't think it's very healthy.
Nope.
No,
It's kind of
And-
funny. It's kind of funny
Go
to
ahead
see
there.
Vander just wanted everybody to live, and he just wound up having to play thrall to the status quo, where Silco is just as willing to hurt his own people as he is the topsiders, and he's the one who brought probably the most change for good for his people.
Mhm.
And Silco wants a
Uh,
nice, clean, calculated, well-planned revolution. Doesn't get one. Vi and Powder just want to live a better life. Don't get one.
Well, and the thing that's fascinating too is Silco doesn't care about the taking over what is it, Peltry? He wants
Piltover.
or Peltfur, yeah. He wants the respect. Like he just wants like he's demanding the respect
Well, he wants
that they deserve.
he wants an
He wants
independent
power.
zone.
Yeah, as he states here, such a great villain.
No,
antagonist.
that's his political speech. He's power hungry, is what he is. You can call it respect, call it this and that. He changes the word depending on who he's talking to. When he's talking to Vander, it's about respect. When he's talking to, what's the kid's name? Decker, it's about power. Because he knows that kid's gonna die, so he's gonna tell him the truth. Look, he's got the eye of Sauron, for shit's sakes.
Yeah, and he talks about like swallowing the water, the toxic water, and just like
Yeah.
go ahead.
One part I really appreciate with this character, and it makes him a lot more, not dynamic, but it makes him a lot deeper, is like he doesn't feel the need to like become violent towards Vander, not lash out. It's not a place of anger. It's like this calculated position now. you know, like you gave me this ambition or whatever, and like I kind of thank you for it, and you had my respect. But
Yeah.
now that you've made a deal with the representation of everything that I hate, you know, now you've lost my respect. So now you've become a target.
I
Which
just
ma-
quickly want to announce. Oh, sorry, amateur. Go ahead, finish that thought.
Oh, I'm done.
Oh, okay.
What's up, ZAXX?
ZAXX was supposed to be here. His voice is like shot. So thanks for joining us, Gooch. Or Gooch. Yo, Gooch. ZAXX for joining us in the chat.
Yeah, get better,
is not a
ZAXX.
Gooch. Yeah, get better, buddy. His throat is just dying on him. So
Jay, did you know that Graham Nolan was called Gooch when he was growing up, the co-creator of Bane?
What?
I think he said that in my interview with him. Actually,
Yeah.
No, I think it,
I
Funny.
heard that on a live
Funny.
stream like today. I was like, yeah, they used to call me Gooch. I was like, what?
Yeah.
um,
He's actually working
this
on-
right here, this line right here is straight out of Batman. To become what they fear. That is a Batman quote, and from the comics.
There's a lot of
So-
Batman
Yeah.
shit in here.
Well,
Yeah,
Silco,
yeah.
he is basically the embodiment of what Piltover fears. They fear a spiteful, power-hungry, underworld extremist. And he said, "Okay, I'm going to freeze on, and I'm going to become what they fear in order to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because what
So
we're doing
they're-
isn't working."
because they're very much a fly on the wall kind of, you know, power structure where
Mhm.
power resides where they believe it resides, right? But with Silco, he's you know, he's actually got power, like physical raw power,
Yeah.
power over.
He has
people
drugs, he
because
has
it's an
men.
addiction. You know, like people become addicted to this thing. They like whether it's chemical or physical. You know, like he can control the masses, like actually control them, not just have this established sort of like,
Yeah.
like I said, fly on the wall. Like it's not the appearance of power. That's very much a threat to them.
He's
Seems
like Frank
this-
Miller's version of Kingpin, but not nearly as large.
Kind of more like Scarface, like a third version of Scarface, you know, instead of Tony Montana or the Al Capone, whatever gangster
Al
version.
Pacino.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got like this new future Scarface. I mean, just hungry for power, and he's getting it. That's the other thing. That's crazy.
Jamma, this is the second season supposed to come out in November.
Yeah.
Supposedly.
Yes.
Oh, and also he has a literal scar on his face. Obviously.
Whoa! How'd you notice
Yeah.
that?
Slipped
kinda
right
like-
by me.
He's kind of like Two-Face and Joker at the same time.
Yeah.
Because one side of
Little
his
bit.
face is bad.
Well, no, the Joker cut off his face in Death of the Family.
You want to know how I got
Um,
these scars?
Yeah. So
The only
technically
thing
that
I
would-
know of the Batman universe is the movies. So, and the animated
Mhm.
series.
I can
And
I
the
can hook you
comics.
up with some good
the
comics if
toys.
you want.
watching this the second time, because I missed it the first time, and actually, this is actually the fourth time I've watched this episode, and I just caught the where she loses her arm.
Yeah.
That part.
Same.
Yeah,
I was
where,
like,
like,
how did I miss that?
gets obliterated. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was certain that she also had died when I first saw this episode. I was like, okay. I
Yeah.
was kind of confused to see her later, you know?
Mhm.
So, but my confusion subsided quickly.
Yes, Jayce, this
Uh,
is what I was talking about. You cannot be messing around with that magic because it does that to the poor woman.
I remember I specifically had to pause it at one point when they said the word Hextech. I was like, dude, that is so cool. I know I said that
Good
previously
brand.
on another episode, but it's like, man, it's one of those words like, why couldn't I have thought of that? You know, like who thought of that?
Just
That's
rolls
great.
off the tongue.
It is a cool
Um,
name.
What's up, Timescales? Thanks for joining us. And if anyone in the chat, if I missed you, just do a shout out. So, yeah, this part here, they're breaking into the lab, and then we see Mel.
It's also
she
a
arrives.
funny joke. He's like, "What? This isn't my bedroom."
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
I'll be leaving now. It's kind of funny.
I'm not gonna lie, she's a very attractive animation female.
Very.
I'm not gonna lie, very attractive.
Very. I
Uh,
know. I really
very well done.
I was really
And she's
impressed with the
rich.
way they I was really impressed with the way they took her character. I thought she was just going to be kind of like this slutty, corrupt politician for all of it, but they really turn her into a character in her own right.
That's her mom. That's her mom. Is it?
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
Yep.
Her mom is not a slut. She is a dommy mommy. All right.
That's
There's a
worse.
difference. All right.
and Andrew is like her type too. Let's see.
Yeah.
Down,
Andrew.
Down, boy.
Now, Andrew, what
Get
have
in
I
the
told
tub,
you? You have to
Andrew.
behave.
Yeah, get
You
in
have
the
to behave
tub
while
with
you're
her.
on stream.
What?
Back to your room,
Muscle
Maddie.
mommies. What am I gonna say? Muscle mommies.
Yeah, death by
Right.
snoo snoo.
I do. Like
Anyway.
she's got like a lot of like North African,
Anywho.
like Egyptian motifs in her design, which is great.
Mhm.
Yep.
You got the dreadlocks and stuff, like those
Black
little
on gold.
the little bits of gold under her eyes there. That's like an African thing, I believe.
I know. Which it
It's
was
cool.
kind of
It's
funny.
taken me
because-
until this part of the show to realize that there's a diverse woman on the screen, so I'm actually not allowed to like Arcane anymore.
Yeah.
We're not allowed to like it.
This
Also,
is
yeah,
I'm
sure.
reliably told I hate diverse people, so
Yeah.
you know I can't like this show. The show is absolutely not a disproof of everything that all those fucking morons
Like your
say.
Andor
You-
video. You can't do a review on it because you're not Spanish.
This show's more diverse than
You're not a
most. You got
migrant.
gear, you got gear people.
I don't like it.
And for people that are not getting that, that's called facetious. So just
You got
so you know.
you got gearhead people and hamster men and all kinds of diversity in this show. It's cool.
Yeah, you got a Marxist revolution happening, and you got like the main character's gay. It's,
Ugh,
Yeah.
you know, it's woke
gross.
as hell.
So yeah, Mel is curious about the magic thing. She like you mentioned it earlier. I think was it you, Hostman? You were talking about how they were corrupt and wanting to. All they saw was dollar signs with magic.
Mhm.
So
What would be the
her-
magic equivalent of a dollar sign? A
Uh,
rune sign?
there
I don't
you
know.
go.
I just like how
T Pro
Hextech-
83. What's the currency like in World of or League of Legends? This guy seems
Just
to
gold.
know.
I think it's just like gold bits or something.
It's just
Oh,
gold.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's those
But,
shekel things.
I like how
Shekels.
Hextech is basically synonymous with like
Well,
electricity.
Victor
Yeah,
does have a
right.
larger nose.
Because it's steampunk, the idea of making electricity is like, blasphemous.
Yeah.
Hextech comes first.
Oh,
Well, they already
boy,
have
yeah,
electricity.
But if you look into like, there was a really good movie. I'm trying to think of what the name of the movie was. It was basically about Westinghouse and Nikola Tesla, sort of like, or not Nikola Tesla. Sorry, it was Westinghouse and Edison. How they were like trying to usher in electricity and how it like revolutionized everything. And there was all these like part of the established government and like power structures. They were just totally against it. And how like
I think I know what
you
you're talking about.
Yeah.
I think I've seen it too, but I also don't know the
God,
name of
it's
it.
really, really good. Yeah, I can't think of the name of it. I just saw it not long ago.
I'm trying to remember a book my sax player was telling me about, or a series of books, or maybe it was a show. I don't even remember. This was years ago, but he was saying it's like steampunk, but instead of the storm coming and like wiping out all the electricity, it was not just electricity, like even like other laws of physics no longer applied. Like you couldn't light things on fire anymore. So like people are like living in this like world without
you would
any of
all
that
die.
stuff. Yeah.
all
It's
die.
it's crazy what he was telling me about. But I remember when Tony was telling me about like Game of Thrones before, they were turning it into a show. He's one of those nerds. Love him.
What's up, Nadia? Thanks for joining us.
Yo.
Nadia.
So yeah, get back to this. We're getting over to getting to Mel
bogged down.
being getting bogged down. Thank you, Mr. Brown. So she's
You think we're bogged down now. Oh
oh,
man.
that's why I'm kind of trying to get through the beginning as quick as I can because it gets really heavy. Those are the pieces I
Oh,
want.
yeah.
That fucking mustache is crazy, though. I wish I could
Yeah.
grow that.
Yeah, hell yeah. That's a funny that was a funny expression that you paused on.
This one, I was just thinking the same thing. It's not a good look for her.
She's in the middle of rolling her eyes or something.
She's got an
Dude.
underbite too.
There's a whole rabbit hole. Just Google bad Disney frames. It's amazing. There's so many.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. It was funny. Me and my siblings, when we would watch Disney movies, we used to do that just to entertain ourselves, pause it at random moments and see what kind of face we landed on. It was really
Yeah.
entertaining.
The man himself, Nos, has showed up. Can the panel all take off?
Should we
their
take our?
tops?
Should we? I'll do
No.
it.
Good.
All right.
Joke's on you. You can't even see it. I don't have a camera on.
No,
Now, boys, what if I told you don't get so fresh while we're on stream?
I don't want to be the only one with my shirt off, but I mean,
So then we get to Powder here. She's nervous and just lying there. And as the Vi returns, this is kind of an awkward moment between these two. Like she's hugging Vi, but like Vi's kind of, well, I guess she's still in shock of
Yeah, her head's
everything
going
that's
a
still
million
happened. Yeah,
miles a minute.
yeah, exactly. So, and there's a scene here that you start to, I think it's, did I miss it? No. She's talking to.
Is it where she's clenching her fist?
This
And then
Yeah, the
Powder
clenching her
sorta
fist.
Notices? Yeah.
Yes. I want to get to that. I always forget this guy's name. Was it Plugger? Plagger?
Plugger.
Clagger.
I like
I always
that
want to say.
Flag.
I always forget his name.
I thought his name was Connor. I was like way off.
Connor.
I thought he had a
Connor.
normal name.
Clagger.
Stay away from Beatrice.
God.
I think he was one of my. He was one of the characters I was getting most into. So
Clagger?
yeah. I was like, hey, this kid's going some places. I feel like he's gonna be a big important.
He's
Oh wait, never mind.
Where?
I-
Diabetes? Diabetes? High
Yeah, I
blood
just,
pressure?
I just like the idea
Like
that he
what?
was. I just like the idea that he's big and fat and tough. He wasn't like a coward, you know. He seemed like a good
Yeah.
like muscle type character for a younger.
It's
But
kind
then
of
do
what-
sort of
giant.
the D&D party type thing where each of the main ones that they're introduced, they each have their unique skill set, they each have, it kind of accords with their personality. They've actually taken the time to set them up and flesh them out, and so you think, yeah, these guys could be a really nice little
Right.
family team
Right.
unit
What a
going forward,
great
couldn't they?
Group
What a
of
great idea
friends.
that's going
Right.
to be.
I
Oh,
can't wait
no.
to see what adventure they're going to be on in the final episode.
Yeah, I like
Episode
the
3.
bigger guy because there's a
Fun
common
child.
trope where you have the big guy who's just like too nice. You know, he's a gentle giant. This guy didn't
Mhm.
strike me as that. He seemed like he was pretty hard
He's-
on the edges.
He's just
Yeah.
a
He was
homie.
Yeah,
hard when
he's
he needs
a-
to be.
He's an Ozempic ad, this guy. He's just like, just waiting to get diabetes and he's going to die sooner or later. Like,
oh, like one of these people who needs Ozempic. I see. I think you're
yeah,
talking about, like,
he's an
these
Ozempic.
models
Yeah.
who take
Well,
Ozempic
that
and
too.
stop pooping and lose a bunch
Yeah.
of weight.
Become him.
Their stomach doesn't
I
move
didn't-
anymore.
I didn't care for Clagger.
I thought he was fine. He was
Yeah,
set
he's
up
okay. He was
properly.
there. Yeah, he's just
Yeah.
yeah, he was set up. I just didn't
Yeah,
care for
I
him.
thought he had
He's
potential
fleshed-
to be
yeah.
some good to be interesting throughout the show.
This
That's
part
fine,
right
though.
here is significant. Like she is feeling the trauma from Vi right here, and you can see it in her eyes as she's seeing Vi clench her fists. I thought
Now,
that
She
was
wants
so
to
well
help her,
done.
but she doesn't know
I
how.
love how they don't explain it because it's like, is it trauma that like does Vi hit Powder, or is it trauma like is Powder now going to be worried for Vi's safety because she knows she's going to go out and do something?
It's the second.
the Neville
Yeah, I
Longbottom.
know it's the second. I'm just saying they don't explain it, right? So you can like sort of fill it in however you want, which
Yeah.
I always
And it's a
appreciate.
good way of telling like how very fragile she is, and because you get the other scene which I think is coming up imminently when you have that sort of the slightly psycho music going on in the background, and you can tell that it's not just that she's sad and upset that she's being left behind. There's something more underpinning that. Like it's kind of rage meets sadness meets fear, and so you know already that she's a little bit / massively unstable.
Yeah.
And so like the jump between episodes 3 and 4 doesn't actually jump that much because that was always in her.
Yeah,
Yeah,
especially like
kinda
the scene
funny.
after this where she kind of loses it.
Well, yeah, like I mentioned in episode 2, like Vi here is like in their fight or flight mode, and Powder's in her parasympathetic state, her like brainstem, where she's just like shut down, like she's so stunned. And it's amazing to watch how they animate this and portray
Yeah.
it.
And
It's
this is
really
important.
well done.
Yeah, and the other
Yeah.
important part about this is like later on, right at the end of the episode, it's like they fall back into these defense mechanisms again, but when they're faced with real trauma though, they completely lose control. But it's very important that they set it up here because now we
Mhm.
Yeah.
understand, I forget what you called it, but like the state, like that very vulnerable, unstable state that Powder's in, and the fight instinct that Vi has.
Yeah, she's in her
Fighting
brainstem.
is her defense mechanism.
It's a parasympathetic mode where she's just in like you go through the 3 stages where you're in your cerebral cortex mode where you're just like processing everything. You're able to communicate. You're able to actually decipher things, and then there's your temporal cortex where you're in your fight or flight, and then you're in your brainstem when you're just in there. Your fight or flight's your sympathetic, right? You're jacked up, and then you're parasympathetic where you're just kind of like stunned. You're like
Almost
in a shock
catatonic.
state. Yeah, and you're just like unable to do anything. You're in a shutdown
It's
mode.
a lot like if you have siblings, like especially younger siblings, that like you'll know what I'm talking about. But sometimes you're just having a bad day, and then your siblings, they try to help you, but then they kind of just end up making it worse, or they want to help but they don't know how, so they're just kind of sitting there, and it's making them kind of feel bad too. Like if you've had that
Mhm.
happen to you, it's kind of what the scene is, but dialed up to 11.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the show
Um,
definitely hits you different if you have younger and older siblings. If you're an only child,
Yes.
it wouldn't. There's no way you would
True.
get the same significance.
If you're an
from
only
it.
child, that's a skill issue. All right,
Get good.
Get wrecked.
get good.
I liked Milo. I was kind of a little upset that he died, but I could see why they did it. But
Yeah.
it's kind of like a Walking Dead where you get invested in some of these characters and then they kill them off, and it just
It's like the Red Wedding episode right here.
Yeah.
Walking
yeah, that
Dead
too.
killed off all the interesting characters, and then they just replaced them with like generic lesbians 1 and 2, and then
Yes.
generic strong female deaf girl and her non-binary weird companion or whatever the heck that was.
Yeah, that is the important difference, isn't it? Because this show still has characters that you know and care about after everyone dies,
Right.
whereas
Mhm.
particularly The Walking Dead doesn't. And Game of Thrones, yeah. But then again, it's probably for the best, though, because by the end of Game of Thrones, all the interesting people who were still alive had just been character assassinated. So
Yeah.
it might have been better had they all died.
Yeah.
The big problem
like-
with Walking Dead is the there's no levity whatsoever. It's so like tonally just dreary the whole show. For a
Walking-
show, it's
yeah.
too much.
Well, it
Yeah,
peaks
The Walking Dead
too
in
quick.
the later seasons turns into the brown table of television network. It's pretentious and it wants to live up to its pretensions, but it's not intelligent enough to.
Kind of want to watch it now.
They lost me in season 2, man.
Well, getting back to this, Milo portrays that your typical FAS kid where he's just unable to, everything's based on emotions and doesn't know how to regulate his emotions. And then like he sees Vi emotionally upset, he gets upset. Like, so he will mimic emotions with people that he's comfortable with. And I like the shot where he grabs Vi's hand and said, "Those are Vander's. What are you doing?" And not even fully understanding, like he understands they're going to war, but he's not fully understanding Vi. But he knows he has to be. I don't want to say empathetic because he's more sympathetic in the state here. So
Yeah.
again, really well done how they psychologically do these characters. It's like it blows my
And
mind
also-
watching this.
Milo throughout the show, just tangent about him. When I first watched it, it seemed like, oh, he's just the guy who picks on the kid of the group for no reason. But the real reason he does it is because if she's not there, he's the next one in line as like the quote useless person. Because what's his only skill that we've seen him do? Picking locks.
Lockpick.
What's
Not
the first
even
thing
that.
they do?
He's
What's the
sneaky.
first thing they do in the episode that is first introduced? Picking a lock. They
Mhm.
break the door that he's picking the lock. Like, so he's kind of useless
Yeah.
in the first episode.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like this, oh, I have to project what I am onto Powder.
Yeah. And
which
Powder
then-
also shows them up by being more useful,
Yeah.
especially when they're looking for things.
And there's also which is also why Milo as like this
Lord.
entity is more like prevalent post 7-year gap for Jinx. Like you'll see like shadows of him, and that's just because he was the most like prevalent figure against her in her childhood. Whereas like Clagger is just like this little stuffed plushie on the couch. because Milo
Mhm.
really wasn't there a lot. He was just kind of the
Mhm.
homie.
There's
So-
also a shot later on.
Yes,
where
Enzo.
Jinx.
Oh, damn.
Yeah,
Yes.
but there's a
Greta
shot
Thunberg.
later when Jinx is or Powder's having her freak out, and she drops the gemstones on the ground, and there's two little drawings sitting there, and if you zoom in, you'll see like all the characters drawn by Powder, and Milo is like being hung or like executed or something. It's
Oh,
very
yeah,
cute.
yeah,
It's very
Gosh.
That's so
Vander's
funny.
got like a crown on. It's very cute. But like
Dude, I
if
would
you
do
don't
that.
if you don't freeze frame and zoom in, you'll never see it. But
Yeah.
it's so cool that there's details like that in here.
Quick shout out to Joker. Thanks for joining us, bro. For people who don't know, go check out his channel. Great guy. He's got a great channel.
It'd be
Um,
funny if it weren't so pathetic. Oh, what the heck? I'll laugh anyway.
Man, you can do a Mark Hamill too.
Yeah, that's awesome. So this is another point where Vi has to tell Powder like you're basically you just stay home.
You're
And
not
then
ready.
You're not ready. Yeah.
Another
Um,
funny freeze frame.
Yeah. It's just I love the interactions between the sisters. It's so powerful.
It's
and
actually
so well done.
amazing. That
It
like
is.
bittersweet shit that you have with siblings. Like they
Yeah.
can kind of be your best friend, but you can also hate their guts at the same time. Or,
Yes.
like, you know, they can do things to you to make you feel like a piece of shit, but they can also, you know, just like with one word of encouragement, change like your entire outlook. Like, you know, she's basically in this scene, she goes from confirming all of Powder's inadequacies and then, you know, giving her this what would you call it, like a flare, and then, you know, giving her this reassurance right afterwards, which creates
Foreshadowing, right?
this
because
confliction
she-
in her.
I know.
The
This scene
the
is
flare.
really good too because taking it back to the child soldier thing that I touched on earlier, even Powder, she's kind of wants to fulfill the role that the society they've grown up in wants her to be, is kind of just a radical soldier for change, for lack of a better word. Almost a, dare I say, jihadi. Like they've kind of been programmed by their society to think this way. We need to fight. We need to make these weapons of violence out of what we have. And for her, it's innocent childhood toys like a wind-up monkey.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, what's up, King to the Nations? Thanks for joining us. I don't think I've seen him on here before, or her.
Howdy.
You know.
I don't know
What's
who
up?
that is, honestly.
Yeah, but thanks for joining us.
Hey,
Then we're going back in. Oh, go ahead.
I do like the musical theme that they have with the sisters. It's always the same sort of like choral singing, which just
Mhm.
is perfect for the kind of emotion that
Yeah.
they're going for. Just this like sort of hope, I guess, or like,
Yeah.
you know, it's
Yeah,
it's
I
very
rewatched-
nice. I like it a lot.
yeah. Funny thing is, I rewatched it from my truck with with
Good to
a
know, good to know.
Bluetooth extension connected to the stereo system, and I picked up a lot more of the music and the sound effects than I did if I had just watched it on my TV. It was really good. Watching this episode is a lot more satisfying if you have a good kind of surround
Mhm.
audio system.
Oh hell yeah,
Yeah.
dude! The sound, it's crazy because like after I watched the show and like noted how good and high fidelity a lot of the music and sound design was, if you actually just go and play the game, like the sound engineering in that is amazing too. Like it's the only thing I can turn up all the way, and it just sounds phenomenal. Like I have pretty decent headphones, but man, the detail and the fidelity and the sound design, whoever's doing the engineering over there is just one of the best at what they do. It's so
Well,
bloody
speaking
good.
of
Hey,
detail,
Chris
like,
Nolan,
this-
if you're watching this, hire the people who did the sound editing for this show to do the sound editing for you. For fuck's sake, please. I beg you.
No.
Yeah,
That was perfect.
whoever did the sound leveling for Oppenheimer needs to be shot. It's brutal. It's
What?
Really?
Really?
It's
bad.
actually
Yeah,
some of the
terrible.
best Nolan's done. It was one of the few times where we could hear everyone talking under the music.
No, that's not even what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like the difference between the loudest of the loud
Oh
and
yeah,
like, you know, just like the
the talking,
like
or
the
dialogue.
general luffs. Like if you look at average luffs and then the peaks, it's all over the place. Like you watch it in the theater, it goes from like nice to like ear piercing, and then it's immediately quiet, and you're like, that's just bad sound design, man.
Well, I don't
Um,
think you should listen to anything in your headphones with them turned all the way up. I don't think that's good for your hearing.
I keep mine
No,
at
it's
30.
definitely not.
Well, going back to detail, like amateur, like the animation here, the fingernails here alone, like a lot of people would just cheat and just do it one color.
No, we're
But,
gonna show
like,
the
the-
white part.
Yeah, they're going to show the white, the nail part, like. I'm just amazed by and then they kind of cheapen out here with the wood here, but I mean, it's
Brass, damn
amazing.
it.
Is
It's
is brass?
brass.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
Never
think
mind.
it's brass. I don't know. It's definitely not wood.
It looks metal.
It sounds metal when they interact with it.
True. It does sound metal.
But speaking on fingernails, though, like, you know, you look at Vi, she's got like a bunch of nervous tics. Like she shakes her leg.
Yeah.
She bites her nails. You know,
Yeah.
that all comes across in the animation. They didn't have to do that. But they did.
Incredible details. I love it. So this part, they're gonna crank it together.
Yeah, Victor
And
and Jayce
Jayce,
cranking
they're
it together
cranking
in
it.
Hibernator's
Yeah.
office after
Yeah.
Oh
hours.
dear.
Now, boys,
They're
what have I
cranking.
told you about getting fresh in the office? Save that for your room. And I hope you're using protection.
I was almost
Uh,
100% sure that these two were going to be gay, a gay couple together.
Nah, they are, bro.
Not that there would be anything particularly wrong with that. It's just in
Listen,
light of
science.
I would just be
bros,
like,
all right.
really? You did that again? You know?
yeah.
I was.
like,
It was really refreshing in Blue Eye Samurai. I thought
Listen.
music was gonna be like a non-binary, amorphous jellyfish or whatever.
I didn't
Listen,
get that vibe
just
at
a
all.
woman.
I didn't get
'cause-
that
Just a
vibe at
straight woman.
all. I was
She
like,
was
oh, it's a
refreshing.
girl pretending to be a guy because it's, you know, feudal Japan. Okay.
Yeah.
I accepted that within like the first 10 seconds. I'm actually surprised people didn't realize it was a chick.
I assumed it was a femboy.
Sure.
I assumed they were gonna make her some like weird trans allegory or something like that.
That would
Well,
have been annoying.
Copa thought it
That
was a twink, and he was just like,
Yeah.
what did Jay get me to watch here?" And I was,
I was
just
like-
like, "Dude, just keep watching."
Wink lives matter, bro.
Yeah.
Want me to kidnap him for the dungeon, platoon?
No, he has
Platoon's got
Timothy
My dungeon
Chalamet.
is full up at the moment, I'm afraid.
It's got Timothy
Oh,
Chalamet,
no.
That's all he needs.
He's working bag fits to the bone again.
Yeah, this look, yeah. Even though
lighting
I
is
didn't
really
get well, the look at each other. Yeah, I guess you can say they have.
Listen, if you come up with an entirely new revolutionary like medium of technology, I'm a kiss a homie, all right? I ain't even gay. We smooching.
Wow.
We did it, man. We did it.
What's
I
up,
have
Kayla?
kissed a man.
Kayla.
We
So,
just figured
yeah.
out teleportation, man. Come here.
Every time I see Arcane stuff, I think of Cloud9 League of Legends. That's
That's
Yeah.
a gaming
League is
org.
cringe.
yeah.
Skip League.
Competitive.
Watch Arcane.
Cloud9 is a competitive gaming organization. They got Valorant teams along with League of Legends. They have a bunch of teams, but I mostly follow Valorant.
Hmm.
I honestly don't, other than like the bad reputation that the community gets, I don't really get the hate towards League of Legends. Like, it's fine.
It's
Like,
yeah,
what's wrong
it's
with
a
it?
well playing it unrated seems fun. Playing it competitive,
Oh yeah, no,
don't
fuck
touch me.
that. That's anything though. Like, you get
Yeah.
into StarCraft 2 or Halo, like it gets really toxic when you
I
get into the
gotta-
competitive scene.
I
but-
gotta show this scene right here.
Bunny
because-
theory, bunny.
Dude,
Yes.
my roommate just plays Call of Duty, Warcraft all day.
Call of Duty.
Never mind,
I'm
I'll
not
save
gonna
it.
lie. I had to deal with a kid today that did exactly this today. Like, this is so well done.
Pulled off a
Because-
head of a monkey bomb.
And
Pretty
an
much
emotional
Um,
breakdown.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, it's the scene. It's pretty much just everyone can relate to it. Like, you know, when you're at like the carnival fair as a kid and you're told that you're not tall enough to go on a ride. That's pretty much what she's going through. It's like the most
Mhm.
agonizing experience as a child. Just
Ah.
it put to a different circumstance.
It
just
is.
like
Where you're-
it's
like
very
you're-
authentic.
You've been told you are not ready for something, and there's nothing. You have no power or control over whether you can do it now or not.
And
have
at the
to wait.
same time, the person you care about the most may or may not come back today.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So
it's like
that-
a
there's
There's
that
nothing you
layered
can do to
layered
help.
on top.
It's like a extreme freak out panic attack with like a dash of like early onset schizophrenia. But I mean, that's the problem. That's the best thing about the show is like, there's all this awesome stuff animated wise, like fantastical designs and steampunk stuff and werewolves. But like the best part of the show is the facial animations in the show. It's so well done.
Well, the emotions are right on their face, and like with animation, that's a super tall order.
Yeah,
That's
they do
like
it
the
really
It
hardest
good.
feels raw too. Watching it, you could almost feel yourself
The
pulling
music,
the head
too.
off of that monkey. It just feels very raw.
Well,
Mhm.
especially with the setup, like Vi saying, "You're all the family I have," and then she just
Mhm.
leaves her there, and it's just like so like raw for her. Like it's just like, how does she cope with that? Like she's
Yeah.
here, she's in her fight or flight mode where she's unable just to regulate. She's unable to.
And we've seen scenes like this in other media, but it's like usually the lowest. It's like near the lowest moment of the story, but it usually comes back as the high. It leads into the third act and the resolution being the highest point of the movie. Example, Into the Spider-Verse, Miles Morales is told, "You're not ready. You're not going on the mission to stop Kingpin's super collider," and like he's beat up about it. He's defeated. He's been webbed up by the person he's been looking up to the entire movie, and he's hearing it from the person that he's looking up to. "No, you are not ready. I have to do this. You cannot."
Mhm.
And but in that, it gets a good ending where his father comes to the door and his father starts talking about, "Hey, your uncle died," and talking about how he sees a spark in you, and whatever you do with it, I know you'll be the best, and it's this form of inspiration for him. In this, she's got nothing, so she's just
Mhm.
left to herself and what she's gonna do, and she does what she thinks is the best option, which is to go help.
Make a monkey
Yeah.
bomb. Ironically, both Haley Steinfeld and words. Ironically, Haley Steinfeld does voice work for both of these as a major league
That is
protagonist.
true.
For both characters.
No,
Yeah, she's right.
she's Vi, and then she's Spider Gwen
Yeah.
Oh,
And-
okay, yeah.
in the Into the Spider-Verse movies.
Which are also fantastic.
Yes.
Although I wish
Eh,
they.
I didn't
bumped
like the
frame
second
rate
one as
up.
much as the first one.
The first one's better, but the second one has a better soundtrack.
Dude,
Yeah,
the soundtrack's so
second one-
good.
I'm not gonna lie. I thought the second one. Well, yeah, that's that TikTok that like they do that intentionally for kids to get. It makes them happy because they're so used to seeing such quick movements and quick motions now. They do that
Yeah.
intentionally for the Spider-Man movies, so kids are like invested in it.
It's more art
Schizophrenic.
driven, but whatever.
I
But
like.
you're
the
saying it's
first
more
one.
You can't be
art-driven?
going and telling Andrew that there's something wrong with the Spider-Verse.
How dare
movies.
you? We're no
Is
longer
there
friends.
anything less than the epitome of all art, even though we're looking at something which is objectively better? But yeah.
Yes.
Shots fired.
Direct hit.
So now we're going to
Jesus.
Silco's Shimmer Meth Lab here,
Fatality.
and then
We'll get this shot later.
I get serious like Rapture vibes. Like oh my gosh, what's that game called? Underwater.
Bioshock?
Bioshock.
Yeah,
Sorry, I
yeah.
get serious Bioshock vibes from their little Shimmer lab.
Platoon should know he's working with the creator of Bioshock to make a new video game.
And he had to do his homework.
Really?
This is
That's
true.
awesome.
Awesome.
But
Oh,
no
what's the name
spoilers.
of it?
there's a
Oh,
fan
what's the
there.
name of it?
Boots.
I forgot.
The name of what? The game is Judas.
The game you are working on.
Judas.
Oh, okay, yes. I remember.
I'll have to ask you some questions after there.
I can
Yeah.
tell you nothing, but you can
Yeah,
try.
that was-
and
I
guess.
was about to say.
Yeah,
an NDA, bro.
No, not nothing about the actual details of the game, but actually like some of the process. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, that I'm more curious about that.
Leak everything to us.
Yeah, tell us everything, or release the twinks out of the basement.
Oh no!
When did you get my key from? I thought I was the only one with access to the basement.
Hey, you pay me to hunt twinks for you.
So yeah, we're
No,
back to Jayce.
Which one of you do I pay to bury them afterwards? I can't remember.
Well, I do have
That's
uncles,
easy.
Platoon.
light
I do
work.
have uncles that do that. So
Yeah, there's two Italians on the panel. Pick one.
yeah, yeah. So we're back to Jayce and Victor. I'm not a big Jayce fan, just by the like he's a good character, but I'm just not a fan of him.
I don't think anyone is.
It's
think
more
Jayce
what
is
he
cool.
represents that's interesting. I think like his
Yeah.
thematic role is more interesting than his character role is.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And it's if it weren't for Victor actually doing the human part of that little duopoly there, then I think it would be a pretty shallow arc. But he's at least it's later on when you get the contrast between the guy who actually has a real character motive investment in honing this tech basically to save his life, and when he says maybe we should stop because we've gone too far. That's really the moment that Jayce kind of becomes more of a character, whereas at this stage he is really just there to populate the theme.
Yeah, because other than that, his only real arc is he goes from intelligent but unwise to wise, I guess, after making a bunch of mistakes. And he sort of like curbs his not xenophobia, but like his prejudice towards people from the Undercity because, he has to come to terms with it because, Victor's from the Undercity. But other than that, he's I wouldn't call him flat, but he's just completely overshadowed by the other characters.
I just
But he
think
is-
typically you'd have these two characters would be one character, one tragic character, but because they kind of let all the risks and tragic elements go to Victor, Jayce kind of seems kind of more I don't know, cosmetic.
That kind I mean, I think that's necessary though in order to establish
it's a good
just
thing.
how just how desirous of power he really is. You can show how very, very quickly and efficiently how power corrupts when you have somebody who actually is the least invested person is the one who actually is most desirous of the power that he gets from it.
Splitting these into two characters is like so you can have your cake and eat it too.
Yeah.
You can
Also
see that
for some
tragic
dialogue.
downfall, but not lose the guy.
That's perfectly. I like when I see Jayce, I think beta male. That's the first thing.
How is
He's
he
a
a
beta.
beta
Are you-
male?
Bro, are you
Giant
kidding me?
fucking hammer in like 3 episodes. You'll bash
giant
your head
hammer.
Yeah,
in.
he's got a
The
pretty
guy's
jagged
Sigma
jaw.
Dirtbag.
I don't know. He looks
Dude, he gets laid. What are you talking
Yeah.
about?
Dude, he bangs
he's
the
more
most
of a
powerful
simp.
chick in
He actually
Piltover.
gets
He
Yeah.
literally creates nuclear power.
She
slash
walks all over
electricity.
him, just like, just like.
Fuck, it's complicated. That doesn't make him a
yeah,
beta.
like, beta. He's a beta
Guess what?
bitch.
Who got pussy at the end of the day? Who did? Who got it?
Not
Jayce, my boy
Victor.
Jayce.
Yeah.
His pussy
I was gonna
turned
make
into
a really dark joke about that, but no,
Don't.
I don't want to get you
Yeah.
About
demonetized.
Sky? About Sky just getting
Yeah,
turned to
about the-
dust.
Yes, I was gonna make a really dark joke about that, but no, I don't want to
Oh,
get
puns,
get
puns,
Jay
puns.
demonetized.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, let's not do that. So yeah, let's tangent. Let's go back to this. Oh, we're bogging down.
Getting
down.
bogged.
Yeah, let's get back to this. So we're seeing the blue
I
crystals.
am the
lighting up.
bog.
Great visuals for this. This is amazing. I love this.
Oh, what's happening?
They're
Oh,
making
okay.
meth.
They're
think
cranking.
blue-
They're cranking together,
cranking
and
is one
they're,
of the-
they're
Cranking.
cranking.
We're
And
all cranking
Jayce is using the dial, and he's using the force here because he's like fiddling around trying to figure out the pattern to get these crystals in a line to create the magic.
Stabilize them.
The hex. What is it? The hex.
Hextech.
Core.
Hextech.
They're stabilizing the Hextech gemstone.
Yes. Then we're back to Vi and
infiltration.
infiltration,
plot.
thinking that they are sneaky and that they can sneak in. And then she finds Vander, starts hugging, and then as she's
Slow
talking, they realize he's asking, "How'd you get in?" "Oh, we came in through an open window." And Vander and her realize, no, they've been set up right here. Yeah,
At least
they're-
it didn't turn into Austin Powers
Oh,
sketch.
So, something that I loved about this was they do a Dutch angle like at the perfect moment where it needs to. Whereas like every other movie that I watch feels like they just have Dutch angles in there for no reason. It's really nauseous. But once they're
You like
in,
a side of fries with that Dutch angle.
it's the
Can you-
shot where they come in through the ceiling. They're going across the bridge, and then they get there. Of course, Dutch angles are supposed to like articulate the feeling of something's not quite right yet, but we don't understand. And then once we reach the door and Vi says the words, "Yeah, we just got through a hole in the ceiling," and then everyone in the room is just like, "Oh, this is a trap." Just good use of that style of shot, and I'm tired of it being misused. Here,
Yeah,
That.
the last one,
Back more.
the last
Yep.
frame, literally. But crap, what was I gonna say? It escaped me.
Can you explain that? Was it Dutch angle? Can you explain that to
Dutch angles when the
to-
camera's tilted. Like,
yeah, like
Yes.
5 degrees.
Yes.
Like a head tilt.
Battlefield Earth. That's the Dutch angle movie. That's the treasure trove of Dutch angles. right there.
The live action Dragon Ball movie too.
Yeah.
Oh my god,
There's a
Oh, that's
what?
the best.
you haven't seen that?
There's a live action. No,
No,
I've
I
never even
haven't
heard
seen
of that.
that.
You
That's
sweet
pretty
summer
old.
child.
You guys haven't seen this? Oh my god.
I know it exists, and that's why I haven't seen it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's that little Giovanni Ribisi looking dude, his Goku. What's his name?
He looks
I
like the
thought
guy
that was
from
just a
Green Day. I
meme.
can't remember his name either.
No, it's
No,
not. It's
that
real,
was-
dude.
That movie was like coming out when I was in
no.
high school or something, and everyone
Oh,
was like laughing at it
no.
then.
Yeah, early 2000s.
Oh, I remember that now. Yeah. Oh,
time
that
to
was
be alive.
awful. Yeah, it was awful. Silco, such a
Yo.
great antagonist. Yeah.
Specifically, I think right after that shot is like this great like tracking shot of the tattoo face guy. Just like little things like that, reminds me of these Stage 6 animated movies where they kind of run it like a one camera show because it is, each shot can have a different framing, a different setup, a different, shot setup. It's just more there's no camera A, camera B back and forth, with these animated movies.
The
I
camera
love
works very
this.
dynamic in this show.
Well, yeah, because
Is it
you're
Dutch
getting a
angle?
worm view right here. So it's like great. Like in comics, this is a perfect panel.
Yeah.
It captures everything.
Trying to make that building look as ominous as possible.
Yeah, her looking up and what's going on inside. What do I need to do to help?
And it parallels the earlier shot as well when they are experimenting with the Hextech, and you've got almost I think it's just sort of a reverse image, but it's the police outside looking up at an equivalently church-like building with the magic through the window and the light that they know that something's going on. So you've got the revolution on top and the revolution below, which is a nice little touch. As is all of this, because it's been a while since I've only seen the entire thing once through, and it's been a while since I've seen it once through. So from what I recall, am I right in thinking Silco is only doing this as opposed to surrounding them and shooting them immediately because he's testing Vi in particular to see
Because
what her capabilities are?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
she's
Yeah, he says that.
Vander's prodigy.
He says that later in the show too, that he wanted to see if she could be like his heir to the revolution instead of Vander's heir to peace, basically.
Hmm.
But then he winds up with Powder, and he thinks of her as the perfect weapon.
Mhm.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
had his eye on. Well, he does say that, like you said, she's Vander's prodigy, but it's like it's already set up from like the beginning of the first episode that he's been following her. Like he's interested in seeing what she's doing, where she can go. But I do think, like the whole reason for him just not taking them out right away, I think he's playing a little game with them. I think it's more sinister. I think he literally wants to make Vander kill everyone just out of just some pure freaking hateful spite. I don't know. I get that vibe from that character a lot. I think he's more evil. I think he's more evil than people think he is. Because
Yeah,
the only
he
thing he's
is.
interested in is absolute power, and he's willing to do anything to get it.
Yeah.
Like, that's an insane form of corruption. Like, you don't know how deep that goes.
These gloves
Yeah, he's
on.
evil. Like I see some people treat him like he's just some poor, misunderstood guy. No, he's still a bad person, but he's sympathetic in a way.
Yeah, he gets changed by
Mhm.
Jinx, which makes him even more interesting because he's not one-dimensional anymore. There
Yeah.
is something, there is some humanity left in there, but it's still self-serving. So Yeah.
Well,
this is
because
where
he
we-
creates this monster. That's why there's an attachment to it. He sees a birth of this monster that he talks about.
Yeah, he doesn't see an innocent little girl. He sees a
No.
monster that he can
Yeah.
twist to his own
Yeah.
ends. But at the same time, he also sees himself,
Yes.
because there's this cycle that happens in the story of this show where like a tragedy that happens to a certain generation gets repeated with the next. You know, the same plot points keep repeating themselves. You know, a Hextech explosion and a robbery leading to violence. You know, the whole thing on the bridge at the beginning was Vander learning his lesson, and now here we're with Vi and she's learning the same lesson that Vander learned. You know, maybe that comes later. I'm not sure, but there is like that repeating of plot elements, and it's all about the cycle of violence that the show portrays very, very well. But
Well,
here we're
this is-
definitely getting our suspension of disbelief tested.
This part right here is exaggerated because there's no
Yeah.
way she'd be able to punch with these big heavy iron mitts
Magic hands.
on. Magic hands. Even though she's pretty cut, she's got the broad shoulder, she's got the traps. There's no way she's going to be able to punch and
And it has to
And
be
Ekko.
said, this is based on a video game where like you have
Yes.
these big tanky demon looking motherfuckers getting beat by a cat on a pillow. So
Meow.
wow.
that is a thing you have to keep in mind. Like, the game is very campy, so whatever that word actually means.
But I don't care because I love this fight scene. This fight scene's epic. The shots here, again, a nice diagonal shot.
And it is
this-
interesting, like just the way that they have the scene play out too. It sort of helps you suspend your disbelief a little bit more, because like she takes him by surprise with an uppercut, which is probably not something he expected, which is why she gets away with it. And like so often a scene like this, it would just be her in a big open room and everybody waits their turn to attack her. But no, they've sort of isolated it to this hallway, so they have to attack her one at a time, which makes way more sense. You know, this could have been a Last Jedi frickin' throne room scene.
A rebel moon scene.
Or a
Yeah, that guy
Where's
there
the
seems to be
fucking knife,
holding that
Ryan?
blade. That blade's going to disappear any second now. But
Yeah.
it's also a good way of
Right.
showing like what she's learned from Vander, and because of course you've got the opportunity to almost see these two fighting not back to back, but sequentially when he takes up the gauntlets later. So it's a way of showing that she has learned from him. She is trying to fulfill the mission that he gave her, which is protect your family at all costs, and she's doing it via the means that he taught her, which is a nice little echo. And then of course you see him fighting in a very similar way. So it's all still sort of like character building.
Yeah. Then we got Plugger or Clager, whatever his name is.
Plug.
Clagger.
Dude, I honestly would
Clagor.
like that name better.
Clag?
Slugger.
Clager. Diabetes. He's chipping away at the wall. We got
He's not even
Milo.
that
picking
fat.
up-
It's muscle, bro. He's husky. He's big bone.
yeah. Mr. Ozempic. He's chipping away at the wall and he's trying to break through so they can escape. We got Milo doing the picks, trying to pick the locks for Vander so he can help Vi as she's fighting on the bridge here.
Yeah,
Some great shots.
Everyone is playing up the strengths that they've been established to have.
Great.
They're all using their setup traits. A
Great
little
shot,
payoff sequence. Actually, every character in the show is, other than all the ones from the previous generation.
He is like 40 years younger than Vander, though. So there is
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
He's just beefy.
Yeah. He's your typical kid nowadays, just sitting around playing video games. Yeah, this shot right here, you ready to rise to the surface. So getting Deckard. I don't know why I remember Deckard's name.
He
He's
is-
like,
Silco is so good at manipulating
Rick
these
Deckard?
people. It's amazing.
yeah.
I like,
Like,
Claver.
I want to drink that shit, man.
He meant scale wise. There you
Might taste good.
go. Eraser, does Gooch roast the kids he work with like this? Absolutely. I do. I do. I call them pickle lips, cabbage chin. I do a lot of names to these kids.
Here comes Mr. Ozempic.
Yeah. You said diabetes, Mr. Something. Yeah. So yeah, I love this shot right here. Just he's so patient. Like he's just your typical, or I shouldn't say typical, your great diabolical villain. It's just a great scene.
He's
very
calculated
subtle.
and calm.
Yes.
He's
And
got
we're
a
seeing
plan.
Vi taking some shots, and then Deckard, and
Not
then we're
like
gonna
Thrawn.
see.
He actually has a plan.
Mm.
Oh, yeah,
Why do you do that?
that was
Why do you
portrayed
choose
very.
violence?
And we're seeing this shot right here. I have this in the intro here. This shot right here is great. This is this is like almost like a shot out of a comic book right here.
Mhm.
Yeah. That looks great
Love
too.
that.
The purple veins in his blue eyes and his gray skin. It's a really,
Yeah,
it's a pleasant contrast, but it's really unnerving too, considering what he is.
Yeah, I do. I also like how they've sort of established the rules of combat as well. Because, like, yeah, Vi
Yes.
can kick the ass of a bunch of, like, sort of normal people, but when she comes up against someone powered by Shimmer, it's just a complete no-go. Which is good, because you need, like, that baseline consistency. Because otherwise, you know, we get into that Marvel thing where we're just smashing fucking action figures together. Like,
And
there's
then,
no
and then
stakes. There needs to be stakes. Like, when people get hurt, they actually have to be hurt.
And then I got the Thor action figure and I banged his head against the Iron Man and it was cool. It made me feel good. Did it make you feel good? No. No, fuck off.
I'm trying to think of which one it was, but Thanos literally throws a fucking planet at someone and they're like, fine.
Man?
And it's like, okay, there's no
Yeah, Iron Man.
goddamn
Oh no,
rules
there is.
anymore.
Is it Infinity War when he collapses
Infinity
a
War.
moon and sort of collapses?
Yes.
Yeah, that's
and
what
then-
I'm talking about. Is
Yeah.
it a moon? Yeah.
But he
Yeah.
does win that exchange, so that one is I
Yeah.
can kind of forgive.
That's pretty
Throw
It,
another
it
moon
does
at
sort
me
of
and I'm
ask questions like,
confused.
if you are that powerful, then really
Well, I think
you
he
shouldn't
just-
have had as much trouble as you did. But at least they do lose that exchange.
And they're also breaking
Not
the
to
laws of
derail it,
physics
but
by having
in
a
the-
planet move faster than the speed of light. But anyway.
Yeah, not to derail it, but in the
Planets
comics
are
they had a
tiny
better
and-
explanation. Like Mephisto's whispering in Thanos' ear, and he convinces him to bring his power down by one notch to give the Avengers a quote unquote fair shot at beating him. That's why he's not able to just snap him out of existence, basically.
yeah. They omit Mephisto a lot from the movies. Like he was a big.
I know
Yeah.
that was
Like,
such
I liked
wasted
Endgame,
potential.
but the more I think about it, the dumber it gets.
Guys,
like,
he's gonna be in WandaVision. Calm down. Mephisto's in WandaVision. Don't worry.
Yeah. Ask me if I'm going to watch one.
Liar!
So yeah, Vi is going to shut the door. Deckard's banging on the doors. Oh, and here we are. Hostmann.
if you didn't believe me that the plot A and B are basically mirror images of each other, like they're literally both main characters are hiding behind a door and like fate
Yeah.
is pounding on it, you know. That's so bloody good. And the way it's edited too, just when they choose to intercut is perfect.
Yeah.
The pacing is just amazing at the end of this. Well, I guess in the meat of this episode.
This is the
Now,
this is
boys,
the
what are you
part.
doing in there? I don't like those clicking noises very much. Oh my goodness. Oh no, stop it.
Dude, you're better at that voice than the guy in the show. That's amazing.
Yeah.
thank
This
you very
you see
much.
you see that magician here, or the wizard, or whatever you want to call him.
The sudden
Here.
wizard.
Yeah. Is that what he's
Warlock.
called? Sudden wizard?
Yeah, suddenly wizard.
Suddenly. Oh yeah.
Suddenly wizard.
Suddenly
Careful, that's
wizard.
trademark. He's gonna manually claim us now.
Let him try. I'm the Gooch. So yeah, they break through. They see Willy Wonka part here where they're floating in the air, which I found humorous. Because wasn't that when they were eating? What did they eat in the Willy Wonka and
No,
Chocolate
They
Factory?
drank the
Fizzy lifting drink.
zero. Yeah, fizzy lifting drink. That's what it's called.
Yeah, fizzy lifty drink. Yeah.
Except there's no
Come-
fan trying to fuck them up.
This was one of the few times where I actually kind of smiled and chuckled at the episode because it's good, but the rest of it is just misery. Death comes for us all. Your family will die.
We're having
Well,
fun.
these guys are just experiencing white privilege.
Even though one
White.
of them looks like he
Jayce
just
isn't
moved the
white.
border.
He's an illegal immigrant. That's fine.
Looks,
Oh, hello, hello,
He looks-
American. Oh yes,
he's
I
got
have
that
this.
good. He's got the
I
good
have this
vague
wonderful
ethnicity.
business.
He
Yeah.
could be Indian or Middle Eastern or Mediterranean or
definitely
Spanish, Mexican.
Latina.
Well, right here he's all cranked out. So I mean, he's in a good state. So and Victor is floating and amazed by all this as they're starting to see what magic can actually do. And Heimerdinger is feeling kind of.
But just because it can be done doesn't mean,
Yeah.
well,
That's
yeah.
for the council to decide.
And then we get
Words.
Mel.
bum bum bum.
Perhaps it's time. So then we go through that, and then we get to Powder as she's trying to help out. She sends in this. There's a shot here. I don't know if they actually if I missed it, where she puts her head up against the little clanking monkey.
Mhm.
No,
That
I
comes
did miss
next.
it.
That comes a little later.
No, she just did. She just does it before she sends it through the window.
She said,
yeah.
"You gotta work this time."
Yeah.
And you're just sitting there praying that it doesn't work.
"Yeah, I know."
Well, here you're like, "Yeah, let's have it work."
Yeah, I thought
Like
it was
you're
going
on
to
her
work. It
side.
worked too well. It was
You're-
it's like one of the few
Mhm.
times you get like a realistic explosion. Like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
I like the
They're
tension
bad
it
for-
adds
I don't
to
know.
the first time you're watching it. It's just like, please don't work, fuck, you're gonna ruin everything. They're like literally about to succeed.
They're almost there. Stop.
Like right when Vander's free, right when he breaks a hole in the wall, in comes this fucking monkey.
Stupid kids
Shit.
ruining everything.
Like I said,
always
it's like
some
that thing
blue-haired
where
chick
you're having
ruining
a
it for
bad
everyone.
day and your your younger siblings try to help you, but they just wind up making it worse. Only this one gets people killed.
Yeah. Well, she's got green hair now, right? And then I don't know, blue
No,
hair
she
is
has
a thing
blue.
later.
It's
Blue,
like
okay.
teal.
It's like
We had a
tealish
good thing
turquoise.
going.
Right here.
But you had to come in and
This-
ruin it and mess it up. You, with your ego and pride.
This is a great shot. I really
Mm.
like this.
Are we gonna hear about the bunny theory in a second, or
Yep.
is that later? Oh
What
yeah.
the f-
Okay.
What the fuck
finally.
is that even about? Bunny
I
theory.
know, I don't even
keep
know.
Oh,
hearing
he's been
people say
talking
that.
about
I'm
it
like,
for like
bunny
3
theory.
episodes.
Well,
the amount
the
of shit that I've looked
think
up
the-
about this show and I haven't encountered bunny theory.
Nah, I didn't even bother looking it up. I just want Andrew to tell me.
um, uh, bunny theory. Okay, so the intensity's cranking up. The walking monkeys splashing the stone. We're starting to see things happen. Decker's still banging on the wall. The intensity's continuing cranking up, and this claps together, starts to blow up.
just
here.
got out of the wall. Just
Mm.
blew
Yeah.
up a hole. Just a hole in the wall.
And here you're
And-
like, yeah,
You're
she's
like,
defeated
"Hurry,
the bad
move,
guys.
move.
Right.
But Vander stops just for that 1 second to look at Vian. Boom.
Surprise ricochet.
What's up there, Cannoli? Thanks for joining us,
Hey,
brother.
can only
I did wonder with
Yeah.
that momentary pause when he does look at her and she looks back, and they both seem to know that something has gone wrong, is what I read from
Mhm.
their expression. How I don't quite know how they know that something's gone wrong at that point, but that's seems to be what they are thinking.
Let me pull up the
Mhm.
scene.
I also like
Do you like-
how the Shimmer Doctor gets like burned alive. I guess that's why we call him singed.
Oh.
Oh, who wrote this?
They do the-
Einstein.
They
Great
do
shot.
the was it that they kind of do the death proof approach with that, like showing the explosion like multiple times, and each time, each person getting affected personally from the explosion, then
Yeah.
back to square one, show it again.
Yeah,
This
and
time-
if you want to be particularly sort of pernickety about it, the one person you would expect to catch the majority of the flak from this explosion is Vander, and he's the one person who emerges the least damaged from the explosion. And you can forgive it because it's shows can earn charity, and the show very much does.
Doesn't he get
Oh,
stabbed
that
by the
look
big
on
door
her
though?
face. Oh my gosh. She just looks so happy. Look at that. She thinks she's done
Mhm.
something good. She doesn't have any idea.
It's the same look on her
Score.
face when she almost blows up the kid in episode 1 or teenager
Yeah.
or whatever.
Did it?
Kind
I
of
believe
looks
the
like
next
shot is
Naomi
the bunny.
Watts a little bit.
Yeah, the rabbit
Yes,
is
it
following.
is.
She's looking at the rabbit, the bunny.
She's looking at the
So-
rabbit. Yeah.
Mhm.
So, what is your
Exactly.
bunny theory there, Andrew?
So bunny theory, we've already talked about it. Actually, I brought it up earlier in the show. The bunny pretty much just symbolizes the thing that you need to do to grow up that you think will be simple, but ends up being confusing, tragic, and just terrible throughout the entire process of growing up. For example, it was Vi. She realized the way to fight back against Piltover and protect my family is in fact surrendering and doing the opposite. For Jinx, it was the way that I can help and protect my family and save the day is building these great machines that can take out the people trying to attack my family. And in the process, it becomes this tragic and completely destructive thing in her life. And it also symbolizes the thing that you think you need to do to grow up, which it ends up not being that. It goes throughout the entire show. It ties into the Jayce and Victor storyline with Hextech. And I believe it was Victor's line when he says, in the pursuit of great, we failed to do good. In the finale, I believe he says that. And we see it post the 7-year time skip. And it just becomes this thing that is just lingering in Jinx's life. And we even see it lingering in Vi's life as well. It's pretty simple. I
thought it was gonna be way more like out there than that. I thought it was gonna be like, oh, Vi lied about like the origin of the bunny or something.
Oh no, it's just she gets
I don't think that's a theory. I think that's more like thematic
bunny
symbolism. Than
the bunny
theory.
Even with the bunny being up on stuck between the not electricity cables, but just stuck
Like
between those two beams.
Something.
Yeah. It's kind of like that, you're at the carnival and you're too short to ride a ride. That's pretty much what Vi was going through. And then she gets it at the end of season 2, episode 2. And then she gives it to Powder, and then she surrenders herself, and she's like, yes, this is the thing I must do to grow up and become a bigger person.
And then when she's
and it's
Jinx,
not that.
she hangs on to it because she can't move on.
Yes, because
But
she has it in
definitely tracks.
that lair. She
Yeah,
has it in the lair.
It's idolizing the wrong thing in people. Like Vi, she idolized the strength and the fighter in Vander. With Jinx, it was she idolized the loyalty of Vi to her, and her mechanical skill, because that's what Vi told her. She was like, what makes you different makes you strong. I have these, you have those, pointing up at the
and it's when she's working on the hex gem. Sorry to over you, but when she's working on the hex gem, that's the other time we see the bunny again. It's pinned up like it's being crucified behind her as she's catching up to Jayce's progress. So she's using her mechanical skill. Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
that totally tracks.
I thought the bunny more of it's a symbol for lost innocence.
Well, it's not even
So-
so much lost innocence, because I'm with you on that. As there's this visual representation of what innocence is, but the fact that she carries it around means that she hasn't lost it. But that's part of the psychosis that she has, isn't it? Like she has this
she
innocence
hasn't
in there somewhere.
accepted that she's lost it.
And the crucifixion, that's the word, isn't it? Crucifixion, that's the one. Crucifixion of Giovanni, is it's this really tortured relationship with her childhood. It's still a part of her, but she fundamentally rejects and resents the thing, and wants in a way to punish herself for the mistakes that she's made.
Yeah. Yeah, you took the words out of my mouth, Platoon. Yeah, thank you.
Do I have to pay now, or is that for free?
That one's free.
Okay, thank you.
You know me
Take
with
it
big
out of
words.
my tweet hunting charges.
My
Falls under
caveman
Creative
ways.
Commons.
So yeah, we get to this where we see a lot of the characters. We see this,
She is out, bro.
yeah, like I love
Her
this.
arm
Like
is
See you in
gone.
7
Singed.
years.
yeah, I thought that was a very cool. I should actually try it. No, never mind. We got lots left here to do. So yeah, we see a lot of the characters on the floor. Yeah, as Platoon said, Vander of all people survives like the cleanest out of this.
Well, he's the biggest
And-
guy. He's practically bulletproof. Look at him.
Wow.
But
I
not
don't think
knife
that's how it
proof.
works.
Yeah.
It's not knife proof,
yeah.
just minutes
Well,
later.
That's why all those fat mobsters get shot all the time in their lives and survive. You know,
He's got
Then
like
how
that
did,
Doom style energy shield.
Don
really
Corleone.
Why
slow.
did,
5 shots to the back.
If that was the case, why did Ozempic die then? So
We got crushed by
I mean,
rubber.
yeah.
And,
And
well,
he
got
his,
a
one of the bricks
sharp-
hit him in the neck.
He
and
got
just
shot
killed
right
him.
through the eye with a piece of rock.
Yeah.
Shard went right through his.
And then-
maybe
Dude,
maybe Fat
my
Kid
God.
absorbed most of the blast for Vander to.
the way the
I don't know.
No, but he
The way
was
the
right.
shot-
He was behind Vander.
going back a
Right.
little bit, the way that the show shows like in time, because it goes back in time to show you the events again, and then back in time and to show you events again. But the way it does it is just like so moving, because we see it first with all the bad guys getting hit, and we're like, yeah, and then we see it go, and then we see it like go down into the deeper depths of the little laboratory that Silco has, and we see it blow up Shins, and then we're like, yeah.
Yay.
but wait, this is really
There's
powerful.
more.
And then
Yeah.
the next shot is it just coming in and plowing through all of our heroes, and we're like, no, stop.
Whoa.
And then the next shot is Clagger just getting knocked in the head and his glasses throwing. It's like, no, stop. And then the next shot is just a shot of Milo getting stabbed in the chest, and you're like, no, stop.
Rubble
then they
falling
die,
The
you're
on
ceiling
like-
his
collapses on them,
And
and
then
you
you just-
know it's done.
You're
Oh,
hollow
the
in your room.
humanity.
Just- yeah.
Flaccid in here to cause chaos. I haven't seen the show because Andrew said it wasn't good.
What? What are you talking about? This is blasphemy.
Dexter origin story for
I think
Jinx.
he's making
Yeah.
fun of you for Blue Eye Samurai or something like that.
Bro.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and I guess Powder technically dies too, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, well, Jinx
Technically.
In
says
this
later,
episode,
Powder saw
in this
them
episode,
alive.
yeah. This part right here, like, Vi is looking right at
If you
the.
just play it.
The
Yeah, she
stupid
sees it,
monkey.
and she's like, "Oh,
Yeah,
for
she's like,
fuck!"
Fucking Powder.
Yeah, and
Oh,
then we'll get to it, the
fuck.
scene later, but like that kind of threw me off as I watched it tonight. Like I'm just like, why did she
Yeah.
ask her about? It was you that did all
Well,
this.
Well, it's a monkey bomb. Well, Powder said it worked. My monkey bomb finally worked.
Yeah,
But she kind of
Yeah.
knows that it was Powder. So
Well,
I mean,
she knows that Powder is here because of that monkey bomb. No one else makes
Mhm.
monkey bombs, so she sees that and she's like, "Oh my god, Jinx
it's
is
literally
dead.
the
Or
toy that
Powder
they
is
used.
dead."
yeah. They
so
used it as like a proximity alarm in the bar. So
this
I
scene
think
right
later
here,
when she asks her like if it was you, I think she means like you did this on purpose, you know, like
oh yeah.
that's kind of I think that's kind of more the meaning of that question.
This, I love Vander so much.
That
He's
is a
such a good
great.
character.
That's a great
Oh.
frame.
How much do you love him there,
I'm not
Andrew?
gay.
Muscle daddy for Andrew too.
No, not muscle daddies. You muscle mommies are the only ones, all right.
Yeah, the muscle mummies.
Hey man, I don't knock it.
Well, this is as I watch this, it's very similar to Blue Eyes. Well, like Blue Eyes Samurai is similar to this with the flashbacks during a fight scene. So,
yeah,
and it's done really well. As you know, we get
Well,
Silco.
and it's also echoing for later.
Yes.
Yeah. I find that like nonlinear storytelling tends to work better on these long form shows and miniseries. I think in movies it tends to get it tends to get pretentious easier, you know,
Yeah,
Yeah.
because they got to do
or
it
also
quick.
Early
difficult
Nolan.
difficult to follow as well sometimes.
well, here they're giving
Early
you
Nolan did it
important
pretty well with
information.
The Prestige
to
and
elevate-
Memento, but his later movies, you're just like, what the fuck are you talking? Stop! I
think
don't know what's
Oppenheimer
going
was
on.
Movie.
Yeah,
It's the first
like,
movie
Yeah,
following.
Oppenheimer did it well. I think that was the first one where he done it well in a while. Where like with
Yeah.
Tenet, he tried like non-linear quote unquote storytelling, where it's like this weird time is going forward and backward at the same time, and it didn't make any sense.
I think one that I remember, I've only seen it once. I should probably watch it a second time, but I remember not liking the non-linear storytelling in a movie called 21 Grams. It was one of those movies that's like you could have told it in order and it would have been just as heavy, you know,
With
just as
Benicio
hard-hitting.
del Toro. With Benicio
I kind
del
of feel
Toro.
that
Penn.
way about Tarantino as well. If you put it in sequential order and trimmed like 20 seconds from each scene, your movies would probably be a lot better.
Right. But with this show,
Where's the buy
you
me?
know, it works. This specific episode as well, you know. These
Well, they're
little
giving you
flashbacks here and
important
there.
information, you know, and it's elevating the scene. Whereas something like,
Yeah.
you know, The Witcher season 1, it's an unnecessary complication to try to make a really shit and bland plot seem more interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The book does,
Because you're
the book
guessing
does-
what's going on.
I wouldn't even call this unlinear storytelling. It's just flashbacks.
Oh yeah, little flashbacks here and there.
Echoing.
The Prestige.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, the
Um,
Witcher book does almost the exact same plot as the show, way better. Has better dialogue, better characters. It's
Oh,
good.
the Witcher
It's
books?
good rap.
Yeah, phenomenal.
Imagine reading. Couldn't
Even
beat
the
it.
one that's just a bunch of little episodic tales is just way fucking better than the show.
Yeah.
Although there's parts of the show where they kind of do that a little bit, and that's the best part of the show, and then they just stop doing it immediately, and it's like,
Oh, the Witcher show. Oh,
you guys have no
Ugh.
idea what you're fucking doing.
Ugh,
You literally
that's-
could have just done a scene by scene of the game, and it would have been fine. But
Yeah.
He's atrocious.
Yeah. This shot right here, because like he would have like overdosed on this stuff, wouldn't he? Like, because like
well, it doesn't
The
go
he's
through
a
the
big
skin.
fella.
It doesn't go through the
Well,
skin. You have to
No.
drink it.
either he's
Yeah.
on glass, he's got open wounds. He would be like all the drug would be like seeping
Heals.
in.
Well, he does die.
He'd be in a
So-
puddle of the stuff on his
Well,
back.
He also gets twice as mutated as the other guy, you know, even though he presumably only drinks one of
That's
them.
what I mean. Like I think he's like overdosing on the stuff. Like he's just like
Well,
Cool.
it's not. Well, we got to know what an overdose is because we know that like a full tube of that stuff is like the normal dose, and like how fast does it seep into the body if it's normal?
you.
I think it's
Yeah,
fine.
he ODs. You literally hear him have a heart attack. I don't know if
Yeah.
that comes through on TV speakers, but it's like like as he's dying.
Yeah, you can kind of
great.
see the veins pulsating too,
Yeah.
Yeah, you
And
can
not,
actually see it
like-
flow.
much more violently.
Mm-hmm. He definitely does overdose, though.
yeah, comatose. Yeah.
Comatose, he's dead.
He's. I don't think he's. I don't know. I didn't think he was dead when I watched this, even though they kind of make it seem that way.
He's
I was
teetering
kind
on
of
the
in
edge of-
denial.
I didn't get that.
yeah. I was in denial about Milo and Plugger, Plagger, Clagger, whatever.
Clagger.
I was in
Oh,
denial about
Zepek.
them being. I was in denial about them being dead at this point. I was like, surely they're gonna get pulled out of the rubble, right? Right?
Yeah,
And it's
that's
like,
great.
No.
It's great. You expect some sort of Deus Ex Machina to protect them and make sure that they're all right, and they're not.
Mm,
Well, I definitely was like, man, it looked like it looked hard to survive, right? But they're gonna be
Yeah.
alive, right? I couldn't.
Yeah,
see
come
them
on,
killing
please,
off
plot
all
armor,
half
please,
their
plot armor,
cast. Yeah.
please, plot armor.
Well, that's
Look
the
at
whole thing
Vander,
they're trying to
he's just-
portray, right? These down in the dump street kids, like no one's out there looking
Yeah.
out for them other than like the people that they know. In fact, the establishment comes to fuck you over even worse after all the shit
Yeah.
happens.
Well, I always like it, like in the Blob remake. I find it ballsy when a movie kills children like on screen.
Listen, I'm with you, Dax. I don't know what's up. with these
Flagger,
people.
I told you he was one of my favorite characters. I thought his name was Connor.
only
though.
one
I like
disrespecting-
Flagger too. I just like fat
Connor.
jokes. Okay, I just
I
like
thought
fat jokes at
Flagger
the
had
expense of other
potential.
people.
I just think he should be taking baby aspirins every day. That's all. I worry about the kid.
Flugger.
Clagger. There you go. This is like exactly like the Hulk. It's just amazing. Like, it's
Well,
a great shot.
It's
He
the
looks like
if we're comparing it to like the two philosophies, this is Silco's philosophy.
Mhm.
Yeah.
also
Vander's
just
kind of
now
falling into
realizing.
it.
I'm also just
You have to
realizing
be willing
Vander
to get
kind of reminds
killed.
me of human Shrek. Doesn't he?
Human Shrek.
Human Shrek.
Which one was that? Part 2?
Handsome Shrek from Shrek 2.
Right. He becomes.
There's
a
also
human?
the bit in the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen when
Right. Oh,
Dr.
yeah.
Jekyll takes the vial of thing, but then he has to fight the giant red version who takes all of the formula and gets bigger and burns out more quickly. That's about like the only thing about that film I remember for some reason.
Yeah.
The comics
that's a
are
fun
way
one.
better.
I just wish, I wish Quartermain was addicted to heroin like he was supposed to be.
Yeah, there's
Other than that,
really
the-
cool
other
things
than that,
I
the movie
liked
was
about
fun.
that
Alan
movie.
Moore. You gotta love
That
him.
Great.
fucking
Muscle
car.
too.
Great shot. Great
The
That
shot.
car is
Yeah.
super cool.
Yes.
And the
Muscle along his
practical,
neck.
the practical
Oh.
destruction of the
All the
miniatures is
veins.
great.
Oh my gosh.
It's beautiful.
It just looks
The veins.
painful.
It almost
Yes.
looks like an old
Pink.
Samwise Warcraft drawing.
I'd do it.
Of course you would.
Why not? Let's see.
People
me
are like
put
upset
this-
about the new Godzilla being pink. I remember people are like upset about this all being all pink for some reason. It's stupid.
I just thought it
Yeah.
looked lame. You know, I much prefer like the red or the purple or the blue Godzilla. You know, I don't even know if
I
he's
think
done red
American-
Godzilla.
Real
Yeah,
men
it's
wear pink.
Yeah. Pink
Godzilla's
polos.
a
That's a
real
good
man.
charity. That's a good
Oh
charity.
fuck yeah! My little polo neck, my little turtleneck is actually pink, so I can absolutely attest. Yeah, pink is.
I
I
thought
got
that
dark
was
hair and dark features, so
maroon.
I look good in pink.
I do not.
I look good in red.
I don't think I have a single.
I look like a twink in pink.
pink.
Nothing wrong with that.
Oh
Don't
no!
tell-
Don't you get any
Hey,
ideas? Platoon?
Hey, don't tell Platoon that. Hold up, bro.
Anyway,
Platoon just got
Anyway.
simmer down now. Simmer down. Get back to Vander. He's able to, have that thought process of like either I fight Silco and kill Silco, or do I save Vi here? And he obviously, does the latter and jumps through the brick wall and lands to his what they're showing here. What they say he's dying. I didn't really get that vibe from it. I didn't think
Dude,
they
they
were going to kill him
literally
off.
have his heart stop beating.
Yeah, but I always thought like they're going to bring him back somehow.
No, I thought it was.
Somehow
He's dead.
Palpatine returned.
He dies here.
I think they went out
Yeah.
of their way after showing like some of these people maybe not dying. They went out of their way to make him like actually super dead. The only thing they could have done was have his head explode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only thing that's coming back is his body. Like
Yeah.
for season
really-
2, Singe is just messing with that body.
Well, especially
One thing
when okay, go ahead, Hostmann.
I was just gonna say one thing I noticed when I watched it the second time around, him choosing to save Vi rather than kill Silco is just a final rejection of Silco's philosophy. He may have compromised himself to save his family, but in the end, he tells Silco emphatically, I'm not like you. I will die for what I believe in. I will die for my family. I'm not going to end this whole thing right now at the cost of my daughter.
Yeah, and
Did you just put on a pink shirt, Enzo?
Maybe.
we see not only does Vander do it, but we also see him struggle with that decision.
Yeah.
Because like his this has been his whole philosophy to like ignore the monster inside of you, but now that monster is here, and now you have to fight against it. And we see him toss up those two ideas, and it's very difficult for him to say no. It reminds me of a Mr. Rogers quote that I might pull up and have Jay play it at the end of stream, because it's pretty much Vander's whole philosophy.
I also
It's
thought there's a
you
bit of
I
impairment.
like.
There's a bit of impairment involved with Shimmer. I thought like you aren't completely in control of your mental faculties.
You got to
There's
fight
definitely,
for
like,
it.
A disposition towards rage, so it just sort of elevates like how significant Vi is to him. That even in that state and even in that like decision that's, probably been eating away at him for most of his life, he still makes the decision to save Vi instead, because that's more important. And why are his arms so long? They go
Yeah,
to his
that's
knees.
well, he's
Gorilla arms.
mutated.
Did he
Like, so,
stretch out? Yeah.
yeah, the
Man, he
proportions
splatted
are
pretty
off.
hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like. It's kind of morbid, but when he actually dies and his head falls down, you can
Oh,
hear his
yeah.
head like
that
falling,
head
like
thud?
puddle.
Yeah,
It's all wet.
the sound
like-
design. Sound design is always just on point. I feel like I
Enzo
could
did-
feel everything. Like
This-
it's
this
animated.
is a
point
great-
out the one point where they do have a what do you call it, a stock sound effect. I didn't even notice that. It's like I think it might
Oh,
be
yeah,
the
the
only one. Yeah,
The gate. Yeah.
Mhm.
that like
This is a
led.
great shot right here. Where
Oh,
she
the blocking.
screams.
The blocking
Yeah.
here
Oh yeah.
with just little powder coming across the screen.
Mm-hmm. It worked.
It worked.
She thinks,
My monkey bomb
look, Mom,
finally
look what I
worked.
did. Look
And
what
then
I
she
did.
realizes
Aren't you
that-
proud of
then-
me?
Well, at this point, like the music stopped. All we hear is like rain and fire, and we're just
Good
like,
night, Gorkin.
we're at the
Back to
point
the
where
pumpkin patch with you.
we're at the point in the show where it feels like we can finally breathe.
Lay off, crows.
And then Powder comes in. And it's like, no, not now. Come back later, please. Come back later.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
I love-
animation here is sweet.
Oh, the
it's-
face.
Yeah,
animated.
Yeah, watching
Yeah.
that trauma and like that
She's like,
acceptance
"Yeah."
or denial build on her face.
She's
is
like,
just
yay, yay,
phenomenal.
I did it. I did it. I
It
did
worked.
something. I did what I wanted to. And then she sees the big body and just the look on her sister's face. And she's like, wait, well, no, I can't. It can't be.
just
A
the
lot of it's in
simple,
the
By the way,
eyes.
I'm pretty
the
sure
simple. Go ahead, Darren. Andrew.
I'm pretty sure the voice actress for Powder was like sub 14 years old
Mia Sinclair Jensen or
for this scene. Yeah, she was like she was pretty young.
I think
Yeah.
she's like
Absolutely
16
amazing
now.
job
So
here.
Yeah,
that she had to have been like 13 or 12 when
12
they started
probably.
recording lines.
which is crazy for this character.
It's Zach saying in Hollywood,
like-
Vander would have screwed everything up. Vi would have save herself and give a lecture to Vander. Yeah,
No,
absolutely.
Vander would have been
Hollywood.
following around Powder and asking her what to do next.
Hollywood Vander is Scott Lang in Ant-Man.
Uh,
God.
Yep.
Just a pathetic guy.
You mean the second Ant-Man movie?
The third one.
A third, specifically the
Third one.
Yeah.
Oh, right. There was 3 of them. Oh, my God.
Quantumania.
Quantum.
This is where this is where the episode gets really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
that's spot on by ZAXX. Yeah, just the simple little line work here for her emotions is incredible. Like it's bang on. Like it just
Right in that frame, she almost looks
Like, look at that.
human.
Yeah.
look at that. I only
And
wanted to
also
help.
we get to see them ugly cry.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
the show isn't about that pretty cry like bull crap in every like animated or even live action show where it's just like, oh boohoo. No, it's like sobbing, ugly tears. Like human experience.
There's
It's not
no
like
way
the
they didn't have her act
dramatic
out on
anime.
camera.
It's
Yeah.
not like the dramatic anime crying with the pauses.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Dude,
Well, a lot of
I-
times, with their voice acting, they do, videotape them, especially if you're like,
Yeah.
you emote real well, the animators will channel that.
animators
Yeah.
usually act for their own reference. I've noticed a lot.
They do.
Because they know what they want. They know what they need to exaggerate.
oh, I want to go back here.
Also, with the
But,
real
like, I can't
animators,
believe this isn't mocap. It's like
yeah.
some of the contortions on her face in this scene. Like, how do you do that without like super good reference?
There was a
14
great part
man.
of I think it was the making of the Iron Giant, where Christopher McDonald, who did the voice of that, agent, he was talking about how the animators love it when you, as an actor, stutter and do little twerks and
Yeah.
little things like that, because the animators like get off on like animating those little quirks that you
Mhm.
everyone has,
Like
Yeah.
human
Yeah.
inconsistencies.
Well,
Yeah.
Ralph Bakshi would rotoscope all of his films. Like they would
Yeah.
actually film the scenes with rudimentary
Right.
stuff, and then they would
So
rotoscope all of it.
So did early Disney, but the thing is, unlike this, because this isn't rotoscope, because like you, it's good to exaggerate things a little bit,
Mhm.
especially with animation. And this, yeah, it
I don't know
feels
that rotoscoping would have helped them.
no,
No,
exactly.
no,
A lot of
it
times,
wouldn't. Not for
rotoscoping,
this.
rotoscoping a lot of times like makes the animation seem more grounded. If anything,
I find rotoscoping makes it look uncanny. Most. Of
yeah,
the
I
time.
mean, I think American Pop is one of
It
my
looks
favorite
really good.
animated.
Yeah, I think I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah,
'cause-
there's definitely exceptions to the rule, but like when you
Yeah.
But the animation style is very like it's almost like real life.
It fits
looking. That's
that.
why it looks weird.
It worked really good.
it's also
for
the
2D
time. It was
3D.
also the era too.
Yeah.
I do like the one
Rotoscoping
part.
worked really good for two Betty Boop cartoons, in particular the Snow White Betty Boop and Minnie the Moocher. Those ones, they rotoscoped the jazz singer Cab Calloway dancing, and then they recorded his jazz songs for it. It looks really good. The ghost and the ghost walrus that he does in those ones. If you haven't
Yeah.
seen them, I put a little supercut of Cab Calloway dancing in those two up on my channel. Just to let you guys know.
Sleeping
have to go check
Beauty
that
and
out. Go
Snow
check it out.
White and what's the other one? Cinderella. They all had some great rotoscoping.
Fantasia.
Mm.
Oh, yeah.
Anime night.
Fantasia
Welcome there,
rules.
bud.
Yo.
Thanks for joining us, Anime night.
I don't think this might not be a 3-hour episode, guys. I thought it was gonna be for sure.
I know.
What can I
Who would've
say?
thought?
I'm tired.
this is like they captured
I don't
this
know. I
so
think-
Well, Jay
freaking
Spade
great.
ran the first like half of the episode. We didn't even get to talk about the first half of the episode.
I don't know.
Well,
I
we
feel
wanted
like
to
we've said
start
more.
over.
Yeah,
I
start
feel like
over.
we've said more in these 2 hours than we could have said in 3 hours, quite honestly.
Yeah.
Have we touched yet on the fact that so there's this interesting question as to what the Jinx with Jinx actually is, particularly with reference to this scene, because you might think, and on surface level, that like she is actually Jinx. I think this conversation was being had in chat earlier as well. That she turns up and yes, everything goes wrong, just as it always goes wrong whenever she's there. So she must be jinxed, right? But actually, if you look at the thing that makes this scene different, as opposed to all the other times when Vi actually takes her along and shepherds her through and gives her guidance, and yes, she kind of fucks up in small, insignificant ways, but they just about get through. The thing that's different about this scene is that Vi goes back on her own word to Jinx, or to Powder even earlier in the show, when she says, your differences is what make you strong. She's actually sided against Powder with other people, and she said, no, you stay behind. And only because she said stay behind, Powder gets the wacky idea of taking the Hextech
Monkey
cubes
bomb.
and putting those in the bomb.
Yeah.
Like, she's not part of the plan, so she can't be guided all the way through. So the actual Jinx in this moment arguably isn't Powder at all. It's Vi and her attitude to Powder, which has changed. And that's what
Yes.
creates this massive monumental catastrophe.
Yeah,
And-
that's
and
the
I
whole
think
thing.
Vi
That's the
knows
monster
that.
she created. Yeah.
Well, Vine knows it because you have the scene, you have the shot earlier of when she sees the hand of Milo and the goggles of Clagger. Now I'm mispronouncing his name, and
Plugger?
she just looks at it and she blames herself. Like you can see in her mind, she's blaming herself for all of this. And then she sees the head of the monkey bomb, and now she's blaming herself for something that she had no control over. And now we're seeing this scene where she sees the blood from Powder's nose just bleeding in and blending in with everyone else's blood on her knuckles.
Or
So
blood on
this
her
is-
hands, quite literally.
Yes.
Yeah.
And she's just, this is the moment where Vi kind of realizes that all of this is her fault. And it's something that she carries into later episodes. And when she's talking to why can't I remember her name? Caitlin on the bed, and she's like, yeah, I would scare away my make-believe monsters, and I would say no monster can get you while I'm here. And then a real monster showed up and I ran away. And yeah, it's and when she's talking about that, she's wrong. She didn't run away. She removed herself from a situation and did the right thing in this moment. She realized her
tried.
mistakes and left the situation. She just left because she knew that she wouldn't be able to handle this. So she gets up and leaves. But you know, through
She's trying to recollect
Man.
herself.
this shot through you know the 7 years of torturing herself over her decisions and what she's done, she's kind of just skewed her memories about the situation and just skewed it against herself, and she blames herself for everything, which is I think Violet is very self-tortured.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, they both are in
Yeah.
a lot of ways, and I
They both
do
have
forgive,
tremendous survivor's guilt from this, but it
Oh, yeah.
manifests in different ways.
and I do forgive Violet lashing out here against Powder quite a bit, because they're both in this very high stress situation. You know, all their friends are dead, their mentor's dead, you know, their whole world has been sort of tipped over. So they've sort of reverted back to those defense mechanisms that they set up before.
Mhm.
Whereas Vi turns to violence, and you know, Powder sort of becomes this self. Sorry, I'm sort of like getting caught up on the word here, but you know, she's blaming herself in a big way. You know, that complex she has where she just feels inadequate, completely inadequate.
Yeah, she's desperately asking for
Yeah.
acceptance and a home, because the lines in the dialogue, please Violet, I need you, please, like she's panicking
Yeah.
right now.
Mhm.
She's pretty
but
much
Vi-
just going
Vi
back
needs
to
a
what she
minute,
was
and
saying
she
in the
knows
room.
it, which is a
Well,
very
she doesn't know
mature-
who she is. She doesn't know who she is yet. Like where Vi knows who she wants to be.
Well, I
she
don't
has-
even think Vi knows who she wants.
No,
I
but
think
she has.
Vi's closer to it, and
Yeah.
like so this is the fun thing, is it also ties back into this inevitability of the revolution that you see, and the fact that, you know, no one action solely determines everything else that happens. So if you had any other state of affairs with any other people involved, with any other motivations, the natural way this scene would have played out if everything had gone well is Vi has her moment, she gets over the wave of anger, and she goes back and apologizes, and they go off together, and then everything is better. But because you've got this complex like weave of various different motivations from all the other villains pursuing their own personal agendas, she gets grabbed and chloroformed and dragged away for something which is largely unconnected to anything that we're seeing on the screen at the moment. It's just one of those peculiar twists of fate that determines so much of what happens next.
Well,
And so
that's
she
the
can't go
original-
back, and so she can't help. And so, of course, Jinx becomes Jinx, and so Vi becomes Vi, and like there's that unresolved conflict between them. But that's not because she chose for it to be unresolved. That was just because fate has conspired to stop her resolving it.
Well, that's also the original predicament catching up with them. Like Marcus doesn't just come out of nowhere. Like
Yeah.
she did send that sort of like tube message back. You know, they are there to collect someone. You know, they can't go back to Piltover empty-handed after.
It's like
everyone
it's so,
dies. It would just be-
and this is the great thing about it, is the fact that like that incredibly impactful moment when she is just chloroformed and dragged away. The motive for her being chloroformed and dragged away is so petty compared to everything we've just
Yes,
seen happen,
exactly.
and that's
And
what
then-
makes it so great,
and the
because this is
mind-blowing
how
thing-
history works.
The mind-blowing
Yeah.
thing about that is the title of the episode is just called "The Base Violence Necessary for Change," and it's like, this is the base violence. It's like, it's so, everything that's just happened is so tragic and terrible and awful and just horrible to just watch, and just drowning.
To be
And
fair, though, if you
it's
read
just
up on
the
East
bu- it's-
Germany post World
it's a
War
very
II,
Well,
it makes
okay,
this look like
put
a
it
kind of
this way.
base violence. Like this is just
Well-
this is the base level you need for
Yeah.
revolution.
Well, they've okay. The beginning of the whole series, they like Vi and Powder witness their parents die on the
Mhm.
bridge. They're witness the heavy trauma. Vi is trying to cope with it. She breaks down. Powder is being comforting to Vi. Then they're going through the same cycle again. So the trauma is being brought on again. Like when you think they're getting past that, it's being recycled through their lives, which it brings up even more of a heavy trauma for them.
Yeah.
And so Vi doesn't want to deal with it. She's done with it. She's upset. She's just like, I've had enough of this. You're making this happen. That's her way of dealing with it. And Powder completely fractures her psyche, completely fractured at the end of this episode, because there's so much heavy trauma that she can't even handle it because she's so young.
And
Yeah,
on top of that, this is worse. Like what happens here is arguably worse for them than the bridge, because the bridge, they're walking through the aftermath. They can't control what's happening. They just find the dead body of their mother, and then Vander takes them under his wing. In this, they're like, they see themselves
They're
as
torn
responsible
apart.
for everything.
Yes.
Jinx
Is taken to a
later.
prison where she's most likely
Yeah.
abused in every way possible, and then
Mhm.
Well,
Powder
they,
is
say,
abused
they say she's
in a
abused.
completely different way by Silco.
Oh man.
Well, there's a line from one of the guards where they basically say that they beat her daily. and they take turns.
Oh yeah, dude. And then when she hears the cane, the metal cane coming down the hall, like you see
Yeah,
Vi
she gets
flinching
ready for
herself.
like a fight.
Dude,
Mhm.
I think that's probably one of my favorite shots in the show.
But
It's like,
Jay,
what did
I
they
love,
do to you?
I love what you said where Powder's psyche is like shattered here, which sets up this moment with Silco perfectly because she's now in the most vulnerable and impressionable state possible.
She's a wounded animal. She's a
Yeah.
wounded animal. Like
So
if you put it like an animal caught in a snare, where they're sitting duck. Their life is anything can take their life at that moment.
Because like a lot of people were put back. Like I got this in my comments a lot on my video. Like when Powder leaps at Silco, people were confused by that. It's like, why would she leap and like embrace him? I thought she was like attacking him. I'm like,
Attachment.
it's actually both.
Yeah.
She's looking for something to attack, but she also needs something to attach to. Like it makes so much sense. Like if you understand
And
trauma,
why
you
is-
sort of like can, what would you call it?
Yeah, why is just
I
like
wouldn't say
take 5? I
relate,
need
but
a minute.
like, well, it's not
She's
even just that. It's she's looking for the first thing that comes along to give her any sense of comfort or structure or belonging, or you know, or she's looking to, maybe not Powder, but Vi certainly is. But she's looking for like the thing to blame or the thing to like take that guilt off of her. Which is why she embraces Silco like immediately because she's so vulnerable.
She's lost everything and she feels betrayed by the one person left in her life.
Yeah, exactly. Which is what fractures the psyche.
Yeah.
Well, this is how you see kids join gangs. Like their whole family either is abusing them, using them, or non-existent, and they will
Cults,
grasp onto
political
anything. Yeah, they
extremism,
grasp
like-
onto anything. They want
YouTube channel.
a lead wolf, and they desperately want to be led.
No, well,
It's very
Denzel-
rare to see a kid try to
Denzel
be
was
that
giving an
leader.
interview that I watched with like a black news network, and the guy he was interviewing, he was trying to make like the high arrest rate in the black community about like institutionalized racism and stuff like that. And then Denzel says, "No, have you ever heard of Yummy, like an 8-year-old gangster in Chicago?" And then he has him pull up a picture of a Yummy, and he says, "That doesn't look like an 8-year-old." And he says, "No." And then Denzel tells him, he's like, where is his father? Where's his father? They don't have a central figure in their life. And that's how they wind up joining these kinds of gangs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
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 And that is like the last thing you see outside of a prison is Silco over your little sister. It's like, oh my god.
Yeah.
You don't know what
Yeah.
he's gonna do.
And the shot where it's pulling away and it almost feels like you're falling backwards and everything's just
Oh, yeah,
I
the
don't
final
know if
shot.
you've ever passed out. That's exactly what it feels
Dude, I felt like passing out after this episode.
Ugh. And the song
This-
that's playing, the lyrics are so perfect for what's fucking happening. It's like,
Oh yeah. And also
why
yeah,
is this so good? Why does
Also-
League
All the
of
original
Legends
music
deserve
that
this?
was, all the original music that was made for this is great. And if you compare it to something like Has Been Hotel, all the original music is really cringy.
Ugh.
Because a lot of it is written, like, especially if it's a single or something written for a show, it's usually done last and it's rushed. Whereas with this, it was probably something that they wrote along the process of the 6 years that they were plugging away at it. And
Mhm.
everyone that was involved musically, from what I understand, are like fans of the game.
Yeah.
To some extent, especially Imagine Dragons. That's why they
Even
got the-
Sting.
Now, is this not Sting from Police, right? This is like a different Sting. I haven't really looked into it, but that song's amazing.
Yeah.
What could have been?
Well,
yeah.
so the song here, Goodbye.
Goodbye, that's what it's called.
So the violin is kind of lurking in the background while Vi and Powder
I don't think
are
it's a
having their
violin.
falling out. Or it's either a violin. It's probably a
it's just
cello.
electronic. It's like a synthesizer.
Well, there's the violin melody in the background of the song, and that's what's placed under Vi and Powder's falling out. and it kind of just warms you up to vocals. The show does a really good job of warming you up to a song in the show. They do it later with Guns for Hire, and they do it with what could have been. They do it with Dynasties and Dystopias. Very good at warming up the audience to vocals, the introduction to vocals throughout the song.
Yes, 100%. Because like the way that they frame it too, like what's happening visually is almost turned into like a non-dialogue kind of montage thing that it always builds up to it, and there's always a good reason for it. Like they only put it somewhere where there is nothing left to say.
And this shot right here,
This
folks,
shot,
Probably the best
the
shot
birth,
in the whole
just
the
show.
looks
birth of
like-
Jinx.
The Fallen Angel by Alexander.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Nice call, good call. The birth of everyone loves this.
Just
Real
rage.
Paradise Lost. Paradise
Yeah,
Lost, Satan's descent into hell.
Mhm.
the birth of Jinx.
What an
That's what
origin story.
this series really grabs me because of the psychology of it, and it's just amazing how well it's portrayed and developed throughout the series. It's top notch. It really is top notch.
If you showed me the Get Jinxed video as like
Yeah,
proof
I
of
don't begrudge
concept
people
for
who
this
like
show,
Hazbin Hotel. I
and
just
that got approved,
found it
and then
very
what you
distasteful.
delivered was this, like, holy cow, what a
Dude.
disconnect. So crazy.
The only thing that makes me like the Imagine Dragons song for this is the music video for.
Yeah, and it's only
Oh,
good
the
in context
misery.
of this.
Yeah, it's dude. The music video is fantastic.
It is.
For this
Great
song at the
footage.
end
I
credits,
like
you mean?
I like that song.
No, for
I like
anime.
listening to Imagine Dragons. You can
Alright.
kill me.
All
This shot-
Hostmann
Hey,
lost
you're allowed to
all
like them.
credibility. Nope, you're not allowed to like them. I said so.
Yeah, we're allowed to make fun of you for liking them. That was all. No, I'm just joking.
Want to fight, Andrew? Huh? Want to fight?
Sure, I'll fight a small little yordle. I'll just kick it over the fence.
Well, now
Alright.
see here, Sonny boy. That's not very nice.
So general thoughts of this episode. If you want to rate it, we'll start with you, Amateur.
I mean, yeah, it's, it was the best of times. It was the worst of times. It's a very emotional episode, very demanding, giant shit show, really. I called it a beautiful calamity in my video, and I think that's basically the most words I can put for it at this point. I'm really tired and my brain is not fucking working right now. But man, this, I don't want to sound like hyperbolic or anything, but this might be one of the best pieces of media that I've seen in like a really, really long time. And the only other thing that like comes to mind is like Lord of the Rings or something. But like, just crazy, the amount of depth in the psychology, the characters, the way that like the plot structures like mirror each other. It's pretty phenomenal. It feels weird rating it because I'm just gonna rate it super high because like like when something emotionally affects you, it's really hard to be objective about it. But like I gotta give it a 10, man. There's all like, especially with this episode, like I don't really think there's any flaws. Like the biggest flaw I could say is like Vi shouldn't be able to lift those gloves, but like we're talking about an intellectual property. Like I said, where one of the champions is literally a cat that floats around on a pillow. So like, as far as suspension of disbelief, yeah, I know, right? So as far as suspension of disbelief goes, like this is pretty good. Like
when you got a
I would
talking
argue it's
hamster,
better-
when you got a talking hamster as the professor, like you could have the character live. Yeah,
I'm fine
like
with
even
that.
comparing
Yoda
it to something like Blue Eyed
I'll have you
Samurai,
know,
I
I am
had
a
an
yordle.
easier
I am not
time.
a hamster. Thank you very much.
I had an easier time accepting this than Mizu like dropping onto her wrist from like a 3-story fall.
yeah.
Yeah.
But like I love everything. I love and hate everything that happens in it. Like everything makes sense, like all the setups have been paid off. All of the characters that we've been building up have been subverted to some extent. Like everyone's plan kind of has gone to shit. Well, at least that's the A plot. Whereas like, the B plot with Jayce, like he's having this huge culmination, this like positive revolution where you know, all of the characters that we really care about have like plunged into chaos, and like, you know, everything's just gone to shit. It's crazy. It's just, I don't think I've ever seen anything like it, really. Like, I have definitely seen things that have been as like complex or like meaningful or like well done, but they didn't necessarily hit me emotionally like this one did. Like this one, like I found myself relating to Vi and Jinx, well, Vi and Powder quite a bit. And like I related a lot. Like I'm Powder, like, and Vi's like my older brother. Like that head squeezing thing was like really what brought it home for me. And I was just like, man, this is like me interacting with my siblings. This is crazy. They totally nailed it. And it like reminds me of like troubled like street kids from when I was in high school and stuff. And it's like, man, these guys nailed something about the human condition in this, and it's just phenomenal. And it looks fantastic too.
Yeah.
Must be said.
Enzo, as you talk about Primal, which I totally agree with you there. What are your thoughts on this episode?
I think this is my favorite episode. Probably the end of it's like end of the first act, basically, of this overarching story before we get our, second time jump. Yeah, I don't know. I thought this episode had it all. You know, it had a monster mash. It had everyone dying. It had all the trauma. Like the first two episodes seemed a little, they seemed like kind of like kiddie stuff a little bit, and then the third episode kind of paints that a little in the I don't know, kind of disillusions you about what to expect. No one is safe. You know, it's kind of that old saying: not everyone will die, but nobody's promised they'll live. So I don't know. I give it like a solid 9 out of the 10, at least compared to the other episodes. I think this is the episode that definitely hooked me. So
okay,
I liked it.
Andrew, what are your thoughts there, sir?
This episode was like horrible, terrible, like awful, like outcomes, and it's like really where the show shows its teeth, and it like gets down to what it's trying to tell and what it is telling. Because in the first two episodes, you're just kind of like, oh yeah, we got this group of kids and this dad character, you know, trying to, you know, play this dad trying to play the political game, and you know, keeping Zahn out of the hands of Piltover and trying to keep them as independent as possible while still being a part of Piltover. And then you have the kids trying to rebel and, you know, making their way through life, you know, coming to terms with things that cause them to grow up and learning through that. And then this episode happens and all of that's ripped away. Yeah. And it does the subversion of expectations thing right. It's like, here's a good character, and now they're gone. And it does everything wrong. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, this is it's probably it's the most hard-hitting episode in terms of back-to-back what's happening and how long you have to deal with like drowning. It barely gives you time to breathe. Yeah, I think I might just give it a 10. I'm too lazy to do points. So
Nice. Hostmann, what are your thoughts there, sir?
I think it's one of the best episodes of television of all time, as well as one of my favorites. I'd put it up there with the pilot episode of Deadwood, the Join the Club episode of Sopranos, and the episode of Deep Space Nine where he hires the guy to assassinate the Klingon senator. All it took was the self-respect of one Starfleet commander. A fair deal, I must say. I frankly think it is one of the greatest episodes of television of all time. It's raw. It's one of those things where if you have siblings that are older or younger, you're going to be just, it's an emotional gut punch. The sound design is epic. It makes you feel like you're in the moment. It really touches on hard-hitting themes, sort of Machiavellian okay, this is what you have to do to achieve change and total control. Do you like it? Do you want to?
Yeah.
There's very little you can actually point to where it's like that's kind of a flaw. I put it up there. I don't like to do number ratings if I can help it. I'm just gonna say it's one of
You
my
must.
favorite episodes of television of all time, as
Say
well as one
10.
of the best.
It's a 10, right? Just say 10.
I have the gun against your
Two yordles
Oh,
up.
Well, I'm a League of Legends character, so you'd have to put me full of like 10,000 rounds to kill me.
Yeah,
That's
and even
true.
when
Or
you do,
one
he'll
big
just drop
round.
that fucking big cannon and run away and win anyway. Fucking
Yeah, well,
Heimerdinger.
I'll just say, just for you guys, I'll say it's a 10 out of 10.
Nice. Platoon, what are your general thoughts there?
Yeah, everything's been said, but not everyone has said it.
Yeah.
I think it's one of the things I think worth remembering about this episode is that the great thing about it is how much credit it gives to the episodes before it. And I think that's probably the thing to take away. This is not actually the deepest of the episodes of Arcane. There are more moving pieces in other episodes, and all of the setup happens in other episodes. But what this does is it masterfully pays off everything that has been so brilliantly set up in episodes 1 and 2. It's a standout episode principally for that reason. There are so many times you can set things up and you fail to deliver them, or there are so many times you go for a big action set piece that you haven't set up. This one takes its time setting all these things up across episode 1 and episode 2 in order to earn all of the payoffs that we see in episode 3. It's a brilliantly well done thing. I'd probably give it a 9, I would say, even though I would think that most of the credit really does belong to not most of the credit, a significant part of the credit belongs to the episodes preceding, but the way that they weave all of it together is great. The only really sort of damaging thing about this episode is that it is so good that what follows it has an almost impossible job. Because how
Yeah.
do you match
Agree.
this?
Yeah.
I've tried to rewatch the show and I get to episode 4 and I'm like, eh.
Yeah,
I've seen it.
it's a bit of a
kinda
lull
jarring.
after it. I think to the extent that there are any episodes of this show that I don't dislike any of the episodes, but if there are any that sort of lost my attention a little bit, whereas this one made me sit up and actually pay attention, the ones that followed it, not that they were bad, but just because they didn't have the same sort of high octane, brilliant balance of tension, plot, character, tragedy, they struggle to compare. But that's a credit to this episode more than it is an insult to them.
Nice.
Well said.
I would give it a 9.5. You guys have pretty much said everything. Like, yeah, it's very raw. The psychology of this, the way they portray the trauma with the kids, with Vander, everything, the animation, the it was so well done and gritty. Yeah, this is one of my favorite episodes of all time also. So yeah, about a 9.5 for me. It's just an incredible show. That being said, we can kind of close this up, and unless there's anything else you want to say before we kind of close this up, anyone? Good. Amateur.
Get running. Come on,
yeah.
we don't got all day.
Yeah. Where are you going to be for the next week there, bud?
Absolutely nowhere but here. It's the
All
only
right.
place to be.
Enzo.
Don't remember. I think I'm going to be on Lance's channel tomorrow. Talk about the dish and the castle. Chew the fat. Outcast creative. And yeah, check out me and Andrew. Me and Andrew watched Howard the Duck yesterday.
True.
Or it was a very funny episode.
Don't forget, me and you were recording The Crow tomorrow as well.
Yeah, people won't see that for a month though. I'm gonna be real. with
Yeah,
you.
probably not.
It'll come out in March. But yeah, The Crow. I'm looking forward to watching that tomorrow with you. That'll be fun. Haven't seen it since
Yeah,
I
me
was like
too.
a kid.
Yeah,
Okay.
I just watched it last
So,
Halloween,
yeah.
so this should be interesting.
But other than that, I'm just hopping around on random streams, goofing off, nerding out with you dorks. Love y'all.
Love you too, Enzo.
All right.
Andrew, where are you going to be, buddy?
In my room writing Temple of Doom script.
Don't put me when I'm in my room.
Still.
I'm in my room.
Till
Don't
I
put me when
show
I'm
up
in my
next
room.
week on the stream.
Dude,
But yeah,
I'm
deconstructing
gonna have
Temple of
my
Doom.
censored 11 video out before you do, and I've barely been working on it at all.
Well, mine, I have a deadline. It's March 20th. I actually need to
Ah.
find it because I'm releasing it on the 40th anniversary of Temple of Doom, so I'm pretty much just raining on everyone's parade.
Trying to get my,
So
How's that
enjoy
going, by the
something?
way? Are you like hating yourself yet? Or...
I got back into it because I took a break because I was working on Rebel Moon, but then that script became completely unhinged. Talking about farming, and then I went back to this, and it's been quite refreshing. It's like, yeah, I do love making fun of this movie.
There's a lot to make fun of.
Dude.
I didn't realize how bad it was till I rewatched it as an adult. I'm like, good
Dude,
God,
I got to
what is
the
this woman
part
doing here?
I got to the part where the kid in the cage conveniently knows how to speak English, even though everyone else in the village doesn't know how to speak English. And it's like, oh, you're just an exposition dump, aren't you? Thank you. I'm dumb. I'm the dumb audience member who needs a expedition dump. And then he pours expedition about everything that you conveniently need to know at the time. What a terrible movie.
Wasn't Spielberg going through like a divorce at the time or whatever?
Yeah, dude.
Yes.
And he's like
what's
dumping
funny?
his
Lucas
baggage into this.
You know what's funny?
film.
People like argue it's like, oh, it's an action movie. It's what the creators wanted to make. The creators of this movie have disowned this. There's like a quote from Steven Spielberg who says, there is no creative fiber of myself in that movie. I completely disown it.
See, I like Temple of
if
Doom
anyone's-
because of how vicious Indiana Jones is in that one. He kills like directly like 19 or 20 people in that movie.
He's a terrible person in that movie. He's like
Yes.
dragging a woman like across like the African wilds like for no reason. Just send her home, dude. He wants to go home. Like stop putting Willie in danger. Number one, she's annoying, so you can just easily write her out. Number two, you're just putting a woman in danger. Then number two, short rounds here, and like I like him, but like I question the ethics. I question the ethics of bringing a child into a dangerous cult.
Well, he's an
underground
orphan.
layer.
Well, no, wait. In Ahsoka, you're allowed to take your child on a dangerous mission.
Dude, and then oh my god, the scene where Willie and oh, you've got me started. Indy and Willie are being horny in each other's rooms, and they're like, "Oh, we're gonna wait for each one going in the room." Except
Wanting
Indy
to
has
wait-
a child in his room. You're gonna fuck while the child's in your room, Indy. You're such a
Okay.
great
There have been a couple
Tangent,
rumors going around
tangent,
about
tangent. Let's bring it
Spielberg
back.
for a while.
Yeah.
Hostman, where are you going to be this week, there, bud?
I'm gonna be Tuesday. I'm going on Gord King's channel with Vex to discuss Silence of the Lambs, and then I'm just gonna be chipping away at my Censored 11 video, which I needed to ingest something far more wholesome because those cartoons, there's a lot of stuff in there where you're just kind of cringing at them, even though I enjoyed a couple of them. Where it's just like, please, my brain is broken. I need something to heal it.
Yeah.
Are you good?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Platoon, where are you going to be there, sir?
Good question. I don't exactly know. This Ekko video at some point will come out. I think it's mostly done, but I have been sidetracked by other job requirements. So yeah, that will be out probably in the next week or so. B-Sub is, I think, probably back. I think we are returning to Monday nights for that one.
Hell yeah. Hell
Usually
yeah.
on Mr. Brown's on Sunday, so I'll be around. I'll be somewhere. I don't know where yet, but I'll be somewhere.
Awesome. And
You
me,
didn't have
I
one
will
last
be-
Monday though, right?
No,
Tuesday.
it was Tuesday in the end.
Yeah.
Cool.
Tuesday.
And I just now remember, now you've mentioned it, that I was going to invite you guys to, but fuck, I knew I'd forgotten to do something. Oh, no. Sorry. This last 2 weeks have just been absolutely mental. I'm multitasking all the way through this stream. It's been that mental. So I will
Yeah, no.
invite you for the next one when I actually remember to do that. Remind
he'll
me, and I will
forget.
definitely remind. Yeah,
Yeah.
it'll be fine.
No, just tell Movie Cynic to invite them.
Well,
Because
that would be good. He does actually remember. He's very good at that kind of thing. I'm shit. So
just give him a
Oh, you're
list
right.
of people that you've promised, and then just be like, "Hey, can you cycle through these for like the next 2 weeks? Thank you.
Just make
I'll
sure
do
he's
that.
not
That's
chewing
a
on his
good
edibles
idea.
when
I need to fulfill some prophecies or some
yeah.
promises."
Well, as for me, you can catch me on I'll be on Saturday Night Hypnosis on Hypnotics channel there with the crew. I'm sure Saturday night we'll be talking about Gina Carano and all that, and the video game nonsense that's going on. And then Tuesday, I have Global Frequency on, so come check that out with Nefarious. We'll be talking. And then Thursday, these guys are going to be back, and hopefully ZAXX will be around to join us then. So yeah, come see episode 4 with us. And then the following week, I'll have Chuck Dixon on, and Unhinged will be Jason Bascom will be here. So a lot of guests coming up in the future. So come to join me on Diabolical Souls Presents. I want to thank my co-hosts here, the panel. These guys taking the time to come on my little Wii channel here and talk about this stuff. It's been great. I appreciate it. And everyone in the chat, you guys are awesome. I appreciate you all. Thank you for coming and joining us.
Hail to the chat.
And yeah, hail
Indeed.
to the chat. So with that being said, everyone, please have a great weekend, and we'll catch you guys next week. Everyone, take care. Good night.
See you, Space Cowboy.